the two teams are out on the ice. The officials have just arrived, and down in the bottom left corner of your picture, you'll see a battery of what they call ENG units, the electronic news gathering outfits, those video cameras, plus some still cameras, and we're getting ready for a special presentation tonight to the Islander captain who recently smashed Bobby Orr's record and has become the all-time highest scoring defenseman in the history of the National Hockey League. We have not been made aware of what is going to be happening. We're glad that you joined us, and you'll be as surprised as the captain and everybody assembled here at the Nassau Coliseum. Denny Potvin, 3 goals shy of Bobby Orr lifetime. Now Jim Pattison, the public address announcer, with tonight's ceremonies as you look at the captain.
Since arriving on Long Island back in 1973 as the NHL's #1 overall draft, Dennis has won the Calder Trophy as the league's top rookie. He's won the Norris Trophy as the NHL's best defenseman 3 different times, and he's been elected first-team All-Star 5 times. In 887 games in the NHL, Dennis has scored 267 goals. He's added 653 assists for 920 points, breaking Bobby Orr's all-time mark of 915 on December 20th. And we honor him tonight for that very special achievement, the NHL's all-time leading defensive scorer.
A standing ovation for the captain. You heard the numbers and the feats that have been accomplished. And still over half this season to go, and I'm sure at least a couple more seasons for Denny Potvin.
Denny has quite a few interests outside of hockey, but none more favorite than his fishing. He and his wife Valerie have been to a lot of fishing places in North America, most recently Canada's Northwest Territories. And you know, it's not always easy to get to those remote fishing holes, and so tonight the Islanders are going to make it a little easier for him and his pal to go fishing.
Inside that gone fishing beautiful Chevrolet Blazer is Valerie. I wonder if she's driving the car.
We'll find out.
Dennis, the Islanders are happy to give you a 1986 Chevrolet Blazer, and so that you never lose it in a parking lot, you can check out the plates. It says 5 aisles. Of course, it's a little easier to ticket you.
Yes, comes with a personalized license tag. 5 aisles.
Dennis, with love from the Islanders and all of their fans, use it in good health when you go fishing. And of course, whenever you go, you'll take along your special pal.
And as the canopies are rolled back, there is Mrs. Denny Potvin.
Ladies and gentlemen, Valerie Potvin.
Maybe it was the MVP that was driving.
At this
May have
time,
been their new daughter,
I'd like to
Madeline Valerie Potvin, born this past July.
Dennis's brother, Jean.
5 aisles. And here's one more Potvin, his older brother, John, entering the picture now.
I think this is a great way to start the new year. I hope Mr. Torrey and Mr. Pickett have a tribute to me next year at the beginning of the season.
Boy,
Right now, I'd like to ask Dennis, along with Valerie and the rest of you, to look up at the luxury box behind the south end of the building where it says Islanders, and there's a box to my right, and right up there you're going to see my mother, Lucille Potvin, and my brother Bob.
This moment comes as a complete surprise to Denny. The Potvin family is settled in one of the boxes. Denny's mother,
2 boyhood friends of Denny.
his brother Bob.
We're talking about Laurier Beauchamp, along with Jay Bird, and Lil James up there. These people flew in today. Laurier flew in from Washington, or from Montreal, and Jay flew in with his lovely wife from Washington. At this time, I guess I got to introduce a man that to us has been obviously the builder of this team. And I got to say it again, they kept me in the dark about this up until 6 o'clock tonight, and I guess they thought I was going to blow the whistle. But as usual, I got to say the Islanders have done everything with an awful lot of class. And I know Denny will, but I want to thank them. Thanks a lot. Bill Torrey.
Man that drafted Denny Potvin.
Dennis, throughout your career, you've not only brought great honor to yourself, but to your family and to our team. As a small token of our appreciation on behalf of our boss, John Pickett, and the entire team and the organization, I want to present you with this silver Tiffany tray, which reads as follows. December 20th, 1985, 916, Dennis Potvin, New York Islanders Hockey Club, all-time NHL record for most total points by a defenseman.
Dennis has never played for another general manager or another coach in his NHL career.
When you think back to 1973, the year they drafted him, you had to know that even a year before that, Torrey had to be looking at him
Ladies and gentlemen,
for a
I
pick.
think it's only
Wasn't everybody.
Tonight's opponent should be the Boston Bruins, and I want to take this time to thank them for cooperating with this ceremony. But the man whose record Dennis broke, of course, was a great Boston Bruin. And I have here a letter written December 24th, and it says, Dear Dennis, congratulations. On and off the ice, you've been a class act all these years, making your team a winner while serving as a wonderful role model for thousands of kids who love our game. I'm personally very delighted for you breaking my record. Warmest personal regards, Bobby Orr. Congratulations, Dennis. Thank you.
And you know, a lot of people wonder whether or not that really happens, but did you see looking over the shoulder of Bill Torrey, the letter? I recognize the signature. That was for real.
There had been hopes that Bobby would be here, but a previous business commitment has kept him away from tonight's ceremonies. This has to be very difficult.
Hardest part of being an athlete.
Well, I guess if the greatest thing about all of this is that, again, one of probably the biggest individual award being handed to me, and you know, my mother's here and family, lifelong friends, and all of you who have really been part of this all of these years. Thank you for being here. But you know, if there was ever a game where you needed a lot of help, hockey has been that game for me, and I've had it throughout the years. And all these guys over here, so many of them I've played with for so long, and some of the new guys are helping me along, and really to all the guys who played with me with the Islanders, thank you so much. My lovely family, Valerie and Madeline, thank you. And the Islander organization, Mr. Pickett, Bill Torrey, Al, all the coaching staff, the trainers, thanks so much. This is fantastic.
The old mark was 915 points. Denny Potvin now has totaled 920 National Hockey League points. 267 goals, 3 behind the record established by Bobby Orr. He has 653 assists. He trails Brad Park as far as most assists in an NHL career. Park with 683 when he retired. So while Denny doesn't lead either single category, when you add them all up, it comes to 920, and that's 5 more than Bobby Orr ever posted. Brad Park retired with 896 points, and you know that Denny Potvin is not finished yet.
His 154 career playoff points shares third spot with Brian Trottier on the all-time list. He leads all playoff scorers with 101 assists, and his 167 games stand second only to Henri Richard's 180.
And as a memento of tonight's festivities, as you see the brand new Chevy Blazer leaving the ice surface here at the Nassau Coliseum, each fan, when they arrived at the building, was presented with a poster. Not one word of advertising, just a commemorative poster with the date and the total points and the new high in NHL history established by number 5, Denny Potvin. In just a few minutes, this hockey game will be underway between the New York Islanders and the Boston Bruins, and some scratches. First for the Bruins, Eddie.
Ken Linsman with a hand injury suffered against the Islanders in that game back in November. Marquardt with a hip. Simonetti has a shoulder injury, and Louis Schlager has a groin. Dave Reed is just a victim of numbers. For the Islanders, Ari Hanpa is starting to come around. Brent Sutter with the shoulder injury. Gord Dineen, Mark Hamway are victim of numbers also.
Denny Potvin gets ready to go to work, talking it over with assistant coach Brian Kilray over at the Islander bench. Both teams get a moment to limber up here after the approximate 15-minute presentation. Still awaiting the removal of the carpet and the microphone as you look at Doug Keens. Keens has not won his last 2 starts for the Boston Bruins. He'll be opposing Bill Smith, so we get the same goaltending matchup tonight as we saw at the Boston Garden back on November 21st. Bill Smith lifetime against the Bruins in regular season play is 11, 17, and 6. Played over 2,058 minutes. There's a man who will be receiving accolades down through the years as well. Mike Bossy, 498 career goals. He is number 11 on the all-time scoring list. A look at the Boston Bruins coach, Robert Thomas. Please call me Butch Gorey. Alger Joseph Harbor, please call me Al. The Islander coach. And now the teams lining up at their respective blue lines. And here is Joe Dewar for the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now some numbers on the goaltenders. 27-year-old Doug Keens is 10 sets and 3 on the season, to 3.17 goals against average. He's only lost once in his career against the Islanders. At Boston, he is 2-0-2 lifetime in regular season play. At the other end of the ice, Bill Smith with a record coming in here tonight of 8 wins, 6 losses, 3 ties on the year, of 3.82 goals against average. 11, 17, and 6 lifetime against Boston. The referee will be Dan Maruelli. Trailed the Islanders over here from a game in Detroit on New Year's Eve. Apparently, he's joined by Kevin Collins and Dan McCourt as the linesman.
Bossy Boston, one of the few teams the Islanders do not have a winning record against. They trail the series 16 wins, 29 losses, and 8 ties.
Ryan Trottier at center ice between Bob Nystrom and Bob Bourne. Randy Boyd and Thomas Johnson on the Islander defense. Now Bork shooting it into the Islander zone. Stick save by Bill Smith, and Boyd picks it up, cleared it off the boards, but right to Middleton. Rick Middleton centered one across, out of the reach of Jay Miller, and there's Nystrom. Miller gets a piece of Nystrom. The puck comes around behind the net to Middleton, who couldn't center it in front. It hit Boyd. Now it comes out in front off Smith's stick. Bork comes up the middle. His shot bounces off the pads. Another drive. Smith the save, and the rebound is shot over the top of the net by Casper. Comes back to Miller here on the right wing. That shot missed the net. Moving it off the left side is Pauline. Trying to center it out in front, got knocked down by Nystrom. Casper trying to move the puck. The net comes off the pipe, or actually the magnet. They never get used to the magnets there. We get a play stoppage with Boston putting on all kinds of pressure.
A lot of heavy pressure by the Boston Bruins. Bill Smith making a couple of stops. Let's take a look at some of the action here. The puck won't behave, but there it is, golfed at the net. That's a tough stop to make. You don't know where it's going to go. Look at that from point-blank range. Miller's shot. Then with Middleton standing over on the left side, the puck flipped over his head on a rebound. Miller drilling it up over the top of the net. Bill Smith making a good save on the exchange. There we are, the win-loss, 16, 29, and 8 lifetime they have on the Chiron.
11 of those victories have been here at the Coliseum, where the Islander totals are 11 wins, 14 losses, and a tie. At Boston over the years, the Islanders have won only 5, lost 15, and tied 7.
But again, like the Buffalo Sabres, they have a much better record in the playoffs than they do in the regular season. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the New York Islanders and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Islanders and SportsChannel is prohibited. Announcers on this telecast were selected by SportsChannel and approved by the New York Islanders.
Ryan Trottier at center ice, Mike Bossy on right wing, Greg Gilbert on the left side, and the puck into the Boston zone for the first time. Bossy's centering attempt was broken up and brought out by Charlie Simmer. Gave it to Crowder, shot it in off the board. Smith started out of the net, got too far ahead of him, and Randy Burridge went in after it. Simmer unable to pick it up at the side of the Islander net. Now Trottier dumps it around the board. Kluzak from the Boston defense dumped it to the corner. Picked up by Trottier. Lost it to Crowder back in the net. Up to Simmer, and a good stop by Save. Simmer reaches up, knocks it out of the air. Trottier, the next man to touch it, thus no whistle, and the Bruins regroup at center ice. Here's Randy Burridge. He's checked on the play. Gilbert to Brian Trottier. Comes down the left side, but did not have control of the puck, and O'Connell has cleared it. Lee Crowder into center. Check from behind. The puck went loose for Morrow. Over to Denny Potvin. Potvin applauded as he handled the puck. Gave it to Bossy. Checked right at the Islander line. Crowder coming back. Got tripped up. So Portnall recovers for the Bruins. Played it back into his own zone for Brian Curran. Curran comes to center. Slaps it in around the boards. Flatly over on right wing. Portnall stepped in front of him. Middleton trying to center one. Got it to Courtnall. Right back to Middleton. Comes in under the corner. Bouncing puck is cleared by Potvin. Ends up in the center ice zone. Curran hustling back. Keane's way out of the net. Banks it off the boards here on left wing away from Potvin. But a two-line pass is called as Middleton gets his stick on it. There's a break in the action. 17:39 left in the first period. No score between the Islanders and the Bruins. All set for a face-off just inside the Boston blue line. Mikko Makala scored the overtime goal to defeat the Detroit Red Wings on New Year's Eve. With the center ice, Tonelli is on the left side, Flatley is on the right. And the Bruins start out. Curran into the center ice zone, got bumped by Flatley. Diddick couldn't pick up the puck. In off the left wing side comes Courtnall, and Smith down to make the save as the Bruins came cruising through in front with Barry Peterson and Middleton following.
Mike Bossy talked about the shooting accuracy of Rick Middleton on the Islander pregame show, and here he exhibits that exact talent. There's the pass. Look at how he makes the shot work quickly. Down trying to block the shot. Let's take a look here. Pat Flatley, who so often gets hit, hands one out to Curran. You see Middleton dart into the picture to look for the loose puck. The Islanders, Bill Smith coming up big against Middleton.
Talvin out on the right side of the Boston defense. Curran on the left. Peterson gets the draw back to Talvin. He's met immediately by Trottier. Peterson dumps one in front of the net, but cleared by Smith. Trottier off the left wing for John Tonelli. Tonelli checked by Calvin. The puck comes loose along the boards. Tonelli with it again. Back to Boyd and across to the right side now to Flatley. Flatley's pass comes outside the Islander line and recovered there by the Bruins. Calvin to Curran. Dumped it to the Islander blue line. Janssen knocked it down. Played it up the right wing. Nothing doing for the Islanders. The puck came right back to Makela. Stepped over the Boston line. Comes in on goal and is checked from behind by Curran. Makela off the end board. Checked this time by Middleton. Calvin lost it. It came bouncing right out in front of the net, but recovered by Peterson. Up to Middleton. Middleton at center ice has shot it into the Islanders zone. Smith waits back to the net for the Islanders, giving it to John Tonelli. Tonelli stick handling out of his own zone. Got away from Passin, played it away from Courtnall, but nobody there at center ice for the Islanders. Passin comes in on the right side, fired one wide of the net. Flatley clears that into center ice. Greg Nienhuis back for the Bruins now. Nienhuis fires one from center ice that goes wide. Andy Boyd reached for it, knocked it down, but Gillies comes back in time to clear the puck. There's Nienhuis back at the Islander goal. Couldn't center it. Casper gets a stick on it. Boyd takes him into the boards. Casper puts it out in front now. It comes back to the right side for Ray Bourque. Bourque trying to get in around Makela. Centers it. A loose puck. Colleen at the blue line. Shot it high. Here's Nienhuis for the drive. That was blocked by Boyd. Greg Nienhuis trying to step away from the check of Makela. Boyd comes in to pick it up. Got the puck loose for Clark Gillies. Into the skates of Dwayne Sutter. Out of Janssen, out to Gillies. Gillies works his way over the line with a shot that bounced off the legs of Talene. Picked up and held in by Dwayne Sutter. Centered but out of the reach of LaFontaine. Toro fires one from the point. Blocked in front and loose puck, and the Bruins take over on their own end of the ice. Greg Nienhuis leads the rush. Gave it to Passin here on the right wing. Passin drops it back. Bourque cruises up the middle, trying to get the shot. Does. Smith makes the save, and Gillies is there to clear it to center ice. Passin back for Boston. Plays it up the right wing boards, and the Islanders have to chase it. Burridge moves into forecheck as Morrow rounds the net. Dumps it out into center off O'Connell's stick from the length of the ice. So Keane works it around to the left wing corner for Boston to Gord Kluzak. Stolen by Tonelli. Into the corner for Nystrom. Centered. Fontaine got a poke at it, but Keene's coming up big. Has made the save and held on. There's a break in the action with 15 minutes to play in the first period. No score between the Islanders and the Bruins.
Even the coach needs a program sometimes.
Butch Goring checking his lineup. Stanley Cup ring on each hand. Did you notice?
No, I didn't.
Wearing the jewelry tonight as he returns to the Nassau Coliseum. The first time as the head coach of the Bruins. That is in regular season play. Goal score in the first period. The puck comes bouncing off the boards and spun to O'Connell. To Peterson. Shoots it in high. Bill Smith comes out of the net, banks it off the left wing boards. O'Connell knocked it down, fires one that just missed the net. Ends up on the left side. Burridge moves in, tried to dump it off in front. Crowder was too well covered, and here's Bob Bourne. To Nystrom, relayed it neatly to Boudelier. Over center ice with a pass to Tonelli on the left side. Couldn't get it back to Boudelier as O'Connell broke up the play. Now Crowder works it up right wing. This is Burridge, a rookie starting in, trying to get it to Charlie Simmer. It's stolen by Paul Boudelier. Now to Tonelli. Got it to the line, held in there by the Bruins. Burridge gets double teamed, and the puck comes outside the line. Warren moved up as Burridge dropped it back to Curran. Over to Talvin. Comes in on right wing. Talvin a drive. He scores! Talvin for Boston puts them on top. The goal will be at 5:51.
From point-blank range, they've had 3 good opportunities. Billy Smith has come up big each time. This time, Talvin, here's the pass. Both teams changing on the fly. He crosses the blue line from the top of the circle, right between the pads of Billy Smith. A tremendous blast. His 3rd goal of the season. Right here, he lets it fly in motion. Bill Smith looks up. He knows what's happened. He didn't feel the puck hit his pad. It went between them.
Now Gerald Diddick and Denny Potvin out in defense for the Islanders, and they lose the puck. In on the left side comes Courtnall. Right in, Smith the save. It's between his skates. Comes loose now and ends up in a pileup on the end boards as Potvin and Diddick get back with a couple of Bruins.
Another close call. Bill Smith comes up big as the Bruins break away a 2-on-1 break. Good hard shot from Courtnall. Here he comes down the left wing side. He's got room. He's got time. He's got his head up. He tries to shovel it in between the legs. It hit Bill Smith's stick. It lay between his legs. Moving up quickly is Peterson, but he's checked from behind just as he gets ready to try and shovel it in between the legs of Bill Smith.
Now Islanders gain control of the puck following the face-off in their own end of the ice, and Bourne has given it to Trottier out to Bossy at center ice. Couldn't control it. Ryan Curran, who drew one of the assists on that Bruin goal, has dumped it in. Back is Denny Potvin. Gets hammered from behind as he made the play to Bourne. Then up the right side, and Curran just knocked it out of the reach of Bossy. Ryan Curran recovers in time to send Courtnall over the line. Here's Middleton to Peterson, and he missed the net with a shot. The puck loose back of the net, cleared by Trottier, but not out. Tillvain at the right point. Shoots one, Smith the save, and the rebound went to Bossy over on the right wing boards. Bossy checked in his own zone. Curran dumps it back of the net. Middleton centers, but Trottier is there. Into Bourne. Steps over center ice and dumps it in around Bourne. Facing it is Colleen to Courtnall. Courtnall fires it down into the Islanders zone. Did not go far enough for icing. Both teams in the middle of changes. Boyd plays it quickly to the left side, but Bork stepped in front of Tonelli. Ray Bork works it around the board. Greenhouse chasing it, picks it up. Nakala right on top of them. Greenhouse went down. The puck went to Janssen. Tonelli lost it to Bork. Bork checked in front by Randy Boyd. Good defensive play, and out come the Islanders. Tonelli leads the rush with one man back. Centers to Flatley, and his shot stayed wide as it may have got off the stick hand of Doug Keane. Back for the Bruins is Casper. Knocks it around the boards. Greenhouse battling for it on the far wing, having trouble picking it up. Finally comes out to center ice, and Facine was there. He's checked from behind. Patrick Flatley back into his own zone. Gave it to John Tonelli. Flatley over the blue line. Flatley pass to Janssen up the middle. He shoots. Keane's the save. The rebound goes off his skate and into the net. Maybe a little dispute here. Tonelli made contact with the puck, but it went between the skates of Doug Keane's, and it's all even 1-1.
The Islanders needed it desperately. They had to get something to get going. The Boston Bruins were coming close to widening their lead to 2 goals. Here's the backhand pass. Thomas Janssen walks in, held it using a screen. Good stop by Keane's. Here's the loose puck. Tapped in between his legs. Did John Tonelli get a stick on it? Let's look again. There's the drop pass by Flatley to Thomas Janssen. He gets a good shot away using the defenseman. O'Connell as a screen. There's the stop. There's the puck as it gets in between his legs into the net. Not sure whether John Tonelli got a piece of it or not. It's his 12th goal, according to the pictures we're seeing. Tonelli making it 1-1.
Goal will be at 7:49. Only the third shot for the Islanders. The Bruins have had 9, and now Boston in a delayed offside situation in the Islanders zone. So Boudelier handles the puck, giving it to Kenny Morrow. Unable to get it to Dwayne Sutter and to hit one of the Bruins, so that's offside. There's a break in the action. The score tied. The Islanders won. The Boston Bruins won.
Look at a fine gentleman and an outstanding linesman, Kevin Collins. Like a player that comes to play every night. He works very diligently with his job as linesman.
He is a guy who came to play every night. He once played, not in the National Hockey League, but in the Eastern League, I believe. Good old Johnstown Jet days. There's a long shot. Gillies poking at the rebound. It just stayed wide on the stick side of Keane's after Morrow had kept it in at the Boston blue line. Burridge working from back of his own goal. Next one off the boards. It goes down into the Islanders zone. Recovered there by Morrow. He and Boudelier come back on defense. LaFontaine centering for Mark Gillies and Dwayne Sutter tonight. Kenny Morrow's pass up the left side for Dwayne Sutter. Steps over the line with Gillies on the right. Sutter left it on the boards at least. LaFontaine picks it up. LaFontaine tied up by Crowder. Dwayne Sutter digs it off the boards to Gillies. He gets checked in the corner as Curran was tight on top of him. And the Bruins just dump it out into center ice off Crowder's stick. It's on a pop out of the points now. The pass up right wing for Dwayne Sutter, who dumps it in. Keane's out of the net to knock it down. This is Ray Bork. Bork into the center ice area, works on pop out. Stopped and played it in deeper. Peterson and after, put it out in front, but Crowder couldn't control it. Out comes Mike Bossy. Greg Gilbert checked right at center ice. Peterson's pass deflects. It's off the right wing board. Ryan Trottier knocks it away from Courtnall. York with it at center ice. Shoots it into the Islanders zone, and back goes Stephen Kearsarge. The top man. Left side for Greg Gilbert. Gilbert takes a look. Right into a check for Middleton. Recovered the puck in time. Dumped it into the Boston zone. Right to Keane. Lead. Around the boards. Greg Gilbert comes in after it. Gilbert trying to center it. It's knocked loose by Mike O'Connell. So So Middleton starts out for Boston. Got the puck to Peterson. Comes over the line. Peterson trying to come in deep. Courtnall trailing the play. And a good check by Randy Boyd stops Barry Peterson's pursuit. They tied up in the boards deep in the Islanders' zone, and there's no further play.
A fearsome duo, Peterson and Middleton. They've done well. Courtnall, a good left winger, but Randy Boyd does a great job of breaking up the play. He did the smart thing as a defenseman. He didn't fall for the fakes that go on, particularly from a player like Peterson. He played the body, took him out, nullifying the play. Middleton was trailing the play, looking for the loose puck, but Randy Boyd not only got the player Peterson, took him out heavily into the boards, but he also got the puck.
The Bruins come in tonight off a 6-6 tie in Buffalo. The Islanders with an overtime victory on New Year's Eve at Detroit. Casper to face off here against Ryan Trottier. Trottier got it back to Boyd around to Janssen. Thomas Janssen carries it out of his own zone, comes over center ice, and it neatly to Flatley, trying to come in around Kluzak. Chased into the boards. Now Flatley plays it back of the net. Doug Keens handed it right to Boyd. Randy Boyd played it just a little too high for John Tonelli. Tonelli centers to Flatley. Flatley back to the blue line. Janssen up the middle. His shot blocked in front, and then a good save by Keens. Here's Flatley with a shot. Keens makes the save and holds on. Keens makes one big save off Makela, then another off Flatley. There's a break in the action with just over 9 minutes to play. In the first period, the score tied 1-1.
Bruins got a big jump in the hockey game, but the Islanders are slowly coming back. Thomas Janssen to Mikko Makela. Good stop by Keens as he held his balance. Look at the play by Makela as he gets it back. Flatley rips one for the top right-hand corner. Keens comes up like Billy Smith a moment ago with a big save.
There he is, Doug Keens. Lifetime with the Bruins, 2 wins and 2 ties. No losses against the New York Islanders. Up cleared from the Boston zone, the length of the ice, rolling on edge. Bill Smith will put a stick on it. Kenny Morrow in to pick it up. Morrow and Boudelier on defense. Kelly, Makela, and Flatley, the Islander forwards. Morrow has played it around the boards. There's Miller for Boston. Flatley checked him. Morrow plays it to right wing for Mikko Makela. Back to Flatley, who's dumped it into center ice. Don Tonelli moves up, gets over the Boston line. Trying to get around Sylvain, goes back of the net and check there. Miller for Boston. Banks it off the boards, but right to Morrow. Dumps it into the corner. It's picked up by Tonelli. Checked immediately by Curran, and now Flatley steps in. Flatley and Miller in a battle for it. Both of them go to the deck. Flatley without a stick. Hits the puck into the corner. Tonelli trying to get separated from a check. Goes back of the net. The puck loose. Don Tonelli had it knocked away. It comes to Pasine for the Bruins. Couldn't clear it out. Boudelier dumps it in deeper. Pasine dumps it the length of the ice now. It's going wide of the Islander net. This will be called for icing as Morrow puts a stick on it.
More pressure by the Islanders as they keep it on. Keens has been coming up big for Boston. Get ready for Sunday's Chicago Bears New York Giants matchup by catching Sports Channel's special presentation, Deadline to Glory. Join Allie Sherman Saturday at 10 p.m. and Sunday at 11 a.m. as he takes a look at the last time the Giants made it into the championship. The 1963 Bears-Giants championship game. That's Deadline to Glory, Saturday at 10, Sunday at 11, right here on Sports Channel number 1 in New York Sports.
Kenny Potvin just tested Keens with a shot from the point. Keens made the save, and Crowder has come over the line, giving it to Simmer. Simmer forced to shoot it wide. It's picked up by Keith Crowder. Put it out in front. Burridge coming in. Got knocked down by Dwayne Sutter, and up comes Potvin. Right side, the pass went off LaFontaine. Skate stays in the Boston zone. LaFontaine in front to Potvin. It was too well covered. The Bruins trying to clear it out. Crowder does to Simmer. Charlie Simmer over the line with a pass to Bort. Back into the corner for Simmer. In front to Burridge. And Smith came out to knock it away from the rookie. And there'll be a penalty as Potvin came in as well. And we're going to get a penalty against the New York Islanders, setting up the Boston Bruin power play. First penalty of this hockey game. 7:40 left in the first period. A break in the action. The score is tied 1-1.
Islanders penalty, number 5, Dennis Potvin.
Dastardly Dan Morelli. How could you dare give Dennis Potvin a penalty on his night? There's Billy Smith stabbing at the puck. Potvin taking down Courtnall from behind, gets an interference penalty. 14th overall. That's what the Bruins power play is in the National Hockey League.
Middleton, Courtnall, and Peterson up front for Boston. Courtnall knocked down, then being tied up in the boards by Morrill. Peterson digs the puck out of the corner. Plays it to the point. O'Connell started in. Trottier knocked it away from him. It comes loose momentarily. Trottier with it now is bumped from behind by Courtnall. Trottier down on top of the puck. That has used up 23 seconds of the Boston power play.
Bruins have allowed 3 shorthanded goals so far this year, and the Islanders, as we have said before, haven't scored one. There's the power play, 14th overall, 39 goals, 192 opportunities for a 20.3% efficiency. There's the penalty killing of the Islanders, 19th overall in the National Hockey League. 42 goals they've given up and 155 times short.
I heard Butch Goring on the pregame show tonight bemoaning his special teams play. Not too bad compared to the Islanders. Smith clearing the puck around the boards in his own zone, and Thomas Johnson picks it up, flipped it high in the air. Bob Bourne knocked it down, slaps it out into the center ice zone. Well, the Bruins reorganized the power play there. Talbine played it to the left side, came off the boards to Middleton, dropped it, nobody there for the Bruins, and Thomas Johnson takes over. Get it to Bourne, check right at the line, recovered the puck, picks it up again, fires one, Keens, a pad save. Talbine back of the net is checked by Bob Bourne. They both go to the net, and Talbine is going to go to the penalty box. Michael Talbine, who scored their opening goal here tonight, doesn't believe the penalty call.
It's not a good play by Talbine to take behind the net. Bourne got a good shot away. The Islanders without a shorthanded goal. Here's a good chance. You couldn't come any closer. Good stop by Keens, but going behind the net. Talbine gets a hold of Bourne, takes him down. Bourne not in danger of scoring a goal in the Boston net at that point. It's not a good penalty to take, but he's got it anyway. Nullifies the power play that Boston was on. I think the Islanders outshot the Bruins on their power play. The hooking penalty, I would think that was.
Yeah, hooking it is. You notice something missing in front of Mr. Talbine? Maybe that angle doesn't show it, but the glass is gone from down in front of the penalty box and the timekeeper's area. This apparently is an option that each of the teams or the off-ice officials have a say in, and these folks decided that they didn't really need it.
New York Islanders off-ice officials, well, they're not really. They're the NHL's off-ice officials here on Long Island. Don't like the glass.
There's O'Connell with a shot. Smith the pad save, and Boudelier comes back to pick it up. Boudelier works it to right wing. John Tonelli over to flip it high in the air, and it bounces, ends up in the Boston zone, cleared up by O'Connell. Steve Casper got it to Ray Bourque, who was coming back. Now to Michael O'Connell. He's across the line with Cassine. O'Connell shoots it in around the boards. He goes to the far corner to pick it up. Plays it around to this near side. Paul Boudelier steps away from the check thrown by Cassine, and Boudelier comes to center. Turns back, takes a look, holds it at the blue line as Johnson comes out to replace Morrow. Johnson picks up the puck and steps over center ice. Backhanded it into the Boston zone. Keens comes out of the net. Flatley comes in to forecheck. And the Bruins able to move up right wing. Only Trottier is there to step in front of Casper. Ryan Trottier holding the puck at center. Gave it to Boyd. Montman ready to step out on the ice. And now the Islanders have a man advantage. Thomas Johnson feeds it up to Michael Bossy. Bossy dumps it in wide of Doug Keens. Luzak and Trottier going after it together. It's picked up by Bossy. Comes to the side of the net, and O'Connell knocked it off his stick. Potvin moves it on the right wing boards to pick up the puck. Eddie Potvin centers one. Bossy gets turned around. Couldn't get a shot away. Potvin holds it right on the blue line. And it into the left wing side for Johnson. Back to Potvin. Over to Greg Gilbert. Gilbert holding it. Then it to Potvin. This time it comes off his stick and out at center ice. Johnson has to come back. 20 seconds remaining in this power play. Trottier takes the breaking pass. Coming in on goal is double team. Got it to Bossy. Shoots. Good stop by Keens, and the rebound is cleared. Gilbert got it to Bossy back of the net. He's being tied up, and Bossy finally knocked down as Pelleen got a piece of him. This is Trottier trying to get it to the blue line. The play broken up, and the Bruins are back at full strength. Either team able to score with the man advantage. It remains a 1-1 tie. Little less than 5 minutes to go in the first period. Johnson works the puck to Trottier. Stuffed it into the Boston zone. You see Keens playing around behind the net intended for Bourque. Bossy tying up Bourque. The puck came loose. Barry Peterson, a long pass to Courtnall. Steps Gets over the line, shot it off Morrow's stick, and Boudelier reached, couldn't knock it away, and Middleton got a crack at Bill Smith, only to be stopped. Puck loose in the far corner. There's LaFontaine. At LaFontaine, Greg Gilbert. And Wayne Sutter out on the ice now for the Islanders. LaFontaine moved into center ice. The puck knocked away from him. The Islanders have to chase it again. Sutter, LaFontaine, and Gillies. The puck skipped off the boards and comes loose. Taken by Middleton. Middleton put it in front. Courtnall's shot was blocked. Courtnall trying to center it again. Dumps it around behind the net instead. Morrow got a piece of Middleton knocking him down, and Gillies trying to pick it up in the corner. Sidestep the check from Peterson. The puck loose. Morrow and Middleton battle for it. Morrow runs into Jeff Courtnall. The puck ends up in the far corner. Morrow and Courtnall collided again as Wayne Sutter got it to Gillies off his stick into center ice and shot back in on the delayed offside. Called down. It's going to be brought all the way down the ice. 3.5 minutes to play in the first period. There's a break in the action at the Coliseum where the score is tied 1-1.
While we were away, a bench penalty. I don't think it was so much Butch Goring. I think it was Mike Milbury to the right of the coach, Butch Goring. Milbury, I thought it was, at that end of the bench had said something to the referee, and they've given a minor penalty, a bench penalty to the Boston Bruins. Milbury standing down to the right where Butch Goring is facing now was having quite a few words to say toward the referee, Dan Morelli, and he gave them a bench penalty.
Kevin Collins has done a long stint over there at the Boston bench talking to both Milbury and a couple of the other players. It was Collins who made the call on the intentional offside and taking the face-off into the Boston zone, which upset the Bruin coaching staff. And maybe the trainer, because I noticed the referee over talking to him as well. It does not pay to be vocal in a case like that.
Maybe it had been a series of things. Maybe one thing wouldn't get them. He may have warned them. Sometimes you wouldn't notice it from here. You wouldn't hear anything. That could have been the case. There might have been a warning given earlier, and finally the penalty handed out.
The Islanders moved the puck around in the Boston zone, but have lost control of it. Pinelli sends Boyd up the left side. He's dumped it in deep. Eames moves out of the net, lays it around the boards. In comes Persson. It ended up in Casper's skates, and he has left it high down into the Islanders zone. The Islanders, Flatley, Tonelli, and Makela, the forwards. Randy Boyd and Stephen Persson on defense. The Islander rush broken up at center ice. They're forced back. This time it'll be Stephen Persson in to pick it up. Persson had a goal and a couple of assists against Detroit Tuesday night. He's given it to Makela. The pass to Bossy intercepted. Middleton dumps it into center ice. Casper was there and fed it to Curran here on the right side. Ryan Curran dumps it back into his own zone. 55 seconds gone in the Islander power play. The Bruins have shot it down the ice. Back for it is Thomas Janssen. Middleton came into forecheck. Janssen gave it to Trottier. Takes a look, has Bossy with him on the right, Gilbert on the left. Elected to shoot it in. Eames slowed it up, comes back to the net to play it. Laid it right to Bossy. Can't get it out in front as Curran was on top of him quickly. Now Gilbert takes it off the boards. Got it to Bossy. Out in front to Potvin. He shoots it, just missed the target. Gilbert trying to dig it off the boards. Does. Trottier on the short side. Can't stuff it under Keens. He's got his pad down on top of it. Several players down on the deck as well. And there will be a face-off deep in the Boston zone. One of the Bruins has been injured, I believe.
Curran, Brian Trottier fell over backwards over top of his leg. Dennis Potvin has a good opportunity. Bossy finds him coming in. Look at the Bruins behind the net. They're men short. There's the puck as it glances off Middleton. Also glances off Thelveen. And watch here as Brian Trottier gets upended as he falls over Curran backwards, being shoved out of the play. Right here, he stepped on him. I think that's what happened. You could see Brian Trottier lose his balance as he was pushed backwards, and he stepped on the Bruin player, that Brian Curran. Of course, at this point, he doesn't know how bad he's hurt. A lot of times you get hit like that or you get stepped on. You don't know how bad. All you know is that it hurts, and your leg may go into a cramp. Let's take a look again. Watch the skates of Brian Trottier here as he's pushed backwards. Watch Brian Trottier's left skate. Right here, see him watch you step back. As he starts to step back, he steps, he's looking for ice. He's trying to hold his balance. The point of his skate, the toe of his skate goes right into the back of Kern's leg. That's how he was injured. You can see him now wincing in pain.
He is up and headed back to the Boston bench. Jim Garrigan, the new head trainer of the Bruins, out there helping him. Have an entire new training staff at Boston this year. Jim Garrigan and Larry Ness, who was formerly with the Minnesota North Stars, is the other gentleman over on the bench. He with the glasses greeting Kern now as he comes back.
A fixture is missing. Dan Canny, who started with the Boston Bruins back in 1962-63 season. Not there anymore. John Frosty Forrestal, his assistant for many, many years, among the missing also.
The Islanders continue with the power play. Potvin trying to get the puck in along left wing. Was out of the reach of Bossy, and Keens, the goaltender, played it to the corner. There's Gilbert with it. Back to Potvin. Fires one. Hit a stick and just went wide. Bossy got knocked down. Still put it out in front of the net, and it was grabbed there by Doug Keens. 19 seconds remaining in the penalty against the Bruins, the bench penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Dennis Potvin's shot from the point again, this time deflected to the opposite side. There's Potvin's shot. Look at how it is, nice and low. It's hard. Keens reacting to the shot as he has to. The puck was deflected in front of him.
Now Casper has cleared it into the Islanders zone. Potvin back to pick it up. Time ticks off in this power play advantage. The score is tied 1-1 as Potvin brings it over center ice and shoots it in. Collision at the blue line sent Bossy flying, and Keens out of the net. Left it for Bork. He's cleared it into center where Middleton picks it up. Middleton and Courtnall move in. Rick Middleton chipped. He left it on the doorstep. His teammate turned away from it. Ryan Trottier comes over center ice into the Boston zone, trying to make the play to Bossy, who picks it up here in right wing. As Jeff and Courtnall comes over center, on into the Islanders zone. Jeff Courtnall dropped it to O'Connell, got a shot away, and it's picked off by Tonelli. John Tonelli sends Bossy up right wing into the Boston zone. Bossy holds it, gives it to Boudelier, comes in all alone and missed the net with the drive. Courtnall over on the left side, starts out for the Bruins. The pass went behind Middleton, and it will be picked up by Kenny Morrow. Gives it to Paul Boudelier. Boudelier at center ice, slaps it around the boards. Keene slows it up. Aline has it back of the net. Aline up the right side to Crowder. Crowder rink wide to Charlie Simmer. Comes over the Islander line with Burridge. Simmer got checked by Morrow. Recovers the puck. Steps away from Morrow. Goes to the corner. Played it to Crowder to the blue line. Aline with a shot to a screen. Smith just got a piece of that. John Tonelli here on the left wing has dumped it into center with 22 seconds left in the opening period. Fired right back into the Islander zone by Tallene. Counter it after it. Sharp angle. Smith down, got the catching glove on it, and has held the puck. 15 seconds left in the first period.
Keith Crowder's shot coming out of the corner. A dangerous play, particularly if a goaltender leaves the goalpost looking for a player in front that he may think the puck is going to. That puck was deflected as Crowder shot it in front of the net. Bill Smith, though, veteran, stood his ground, picked it off with his catching mitt. The Boston Bruins now, in the last 3 shifts, have had 2 2-on-1 breaks. Dennis Potvin, what a nice job he did breaking up the last one. Started out with Rick Middleton carrying the puck. He had Courtnall on his right side, but Potvin took it away from Middleton.
Now Trottier facing off with Peterson. Trottier pulled the puck back to Denny Potvin. The crowd went down, the puck knocked loose. Peterson puts it out in front. What a save by Bill Smith as Crowder came up the middle on Dwayne Sutter. Bruins unable to center it again, and as Dwayne Sutter gets a stick on it, the period comes to a close, but the Bruins had a golden opportunity with only seconds remaining, only to be denied by number 31. Bill Smith, watch it again as Peterson finds his man.
Keeps the game from falling behind, or at least I should say this team, the Islanders. There's the shot by Courtnall, a beauty, a hard shot. Smith makes the save as the bell goes, ending the period.
After 1, your score is the New York Islanders and the Boston Bruins all tied up at 1-1. We'll be back with a recap after we pause for these messages.
Stan Fischler here at Nassau Coliseum. It's a 1-1 tie, the Islanders and the Bruins at the end of the first period. My guest, as I mentioned, the man of the decade, the man of the hour, Captain Denny Potvin. And Denny, watching the stirring ceremonies before the game, I looked at you and I said, there had to be a lot of surprises. You did not know what was going to happen once the announcements were made.
I'm very impressed with the way all of it was handled. I had no clue whatsoever. The only thing I had heard was the other night in Detroit. I was watching between the periods, and Jiggs and Eddie were talking about the surprises that they had in store for me. But I felt that it'd be probably no more than some sort of an award or presentation of sorts. I had no idea that they'd go to the extent to bring my family and my dear, dear friends from childhood here to witness this.
I think the fans would be interested in knowing the two particular friends who I noticed that you waved to. Obviously, you were stirred by their appearance. Who were they?
Well, Laurier Beauchamp's neighbor was from the time I was about 7 years old, and he had the paper out, and we used to deliver the newspaper together back home. And Jay Robertson is, again, a teenage friend that we kind of grew up together, and we did all the good and bad things together. And Laurier and Jay have been my long time friends, and we keep in touch constantly, but it's just such a thrill to have them here. I really can't express how wonderful it is.
Your wife, Valerie, was hidden in the car. Did you have any idea that she was going to be there?
No. Yesterday, I kind of sheepishly asked Valerie if she had thoughts of coming to the game, and I'd like her very much to be here because they're presenting some sort of award to me, and I'd just like her to be there. When I went out, I kind of looked up at the seats, right away, and I noticed that Valerie wasn't there, and I thought, oh, God, Valerie, don't be late for this one, And then when they pulled the drape back on the Jeep and I saw her inside, I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it, and she held a secret for that long.
Your mother also is here. When did you realize that you didn't realize she was coming, I know that, but when had you talked to her last?
Well, I spoke to her a few days ago, last week during the Christmas time, and I've been trying to reach her yesterday and today, and the phone kept ringing off the hook, and I was saying to myself, well, I'll try and reach her later on. She must be out partying. It's New Year's. But I had no indication that she'd be coming, and I kept looking at my brother saying, what's going on with the Jeep and all this? I had no idea, and he kept pointing up, and I thought he was pointing up the scoreboard, and I kept looking up, and I didn't see anything particular until he announced that they were all there, and I saw Mom up there. My older brother Bob. What a thrill.
One of the fellows in the stands was saying, how dare they call a penalty against you on your night?
Well, especially an interference, of all things. I want to get in the way of people.
Denny, the presentation, one of the things that was said was that you're nuts about fishing. What kind of fishing do you like most?
Primarily fly fishing for trout and salmon. That's what I enjoy the most. But any kind of fishing is something that I enjoy. I just don't really like to go out too far in the ocean. I get a little queasy. But anytime I can get a fish at the end of any kind of line, I'm happy.
Well, on behalf of all the fans, Islander fans, all fans, we're very proud of you. Congratulations again. We'll have Jiggs and Eddie right after this.
The center ice between Clark Gillies and Dwayne Sutter to open up the second period for the Bruins. Peterson between Middleton and Courtnall. The Islanders have Johnson and Boyd on defense. Helene on one side and Bork on the other. Helene played it across. Right back to Helene. Helene and Calvin out here for the Bruins tonight. Don't get them confused. Dwayne Sutter to LaFontaine to pass off his skate.
Are you talking to me?
No, all right, talking to myself and everybody else. Ray Bork doesn't clear it outside the Boston line. LaFontaine moved in and was knocked away from him, picked up by Jeff Courtnall. He is tied up from behind, and LaFontaine is going to go out for hooking. That LaFontaine sets up a Boston power play inside the first 32 seconds of this middle period.
And it was 32, Jeff Courtnall, that he pulled down from behind with a hook. In the center ice area, Pat LaFontaine gets a hold of the shoulders of Courtnall. Here he is. He's trying to stride. You can see what happens is his right arm gets pulled back. It's not so much the force of the pull by the stick of Pat LaFontaine. It's the balance. That's what happened. His left foot's on the ice. It pulls him around backwards. He has no edge then to gain his balance with. His right leg is off the ice. His weight is on the outside edge of his left skate, and down he goes, kind of soft and easy, but it's a hooking penalty.
So the Bruins, with a man advantage, have dumped it in. Pearson goes in after it, got tied up, still managed to get the puck to the stick of Bourne, out to Greg Gilbert. Works on O'Connell as he comes into the Boston zone, but O'Connell slowed him up long enough to make the play offside. LaFontaine for hooking at the 32-second mark. Gilbert coming back in front of the Islander bench, and there is a look at a very pleasant surprise for the Boston Bruins. Randy Burridge, called up because of all the injuries, a late-round draft choice this past summer. The Ontario Hockey League, OHL at Peterborough.
Scored a goal against the Islanders the last hockey game.
The assist on the only goal for the Bruins here tonight as well. Johnson holding the puck in the Boston zone, got knocked down, still managed to get it just wide on that shot. It's picked up by Ray Bourque. Bourque starting out. They're using Burridge on their power play along with Simmer and Trotter. O'Connell got it into the Islander zone. Potvin got it out. 40 seconds gone now on LaFontaine's penalty as Keens left it back in the net. It's picked up by Bourque. Ray Bourque to the left side. Randy Burridge picks it up on left wing into the Islander zone. He's knocked down by Persson, and Potvin picks up the puck. Slapped it to the right side, but right to O'Connell. Comes in with a blast. That's one wide of the net.
See how important it is to hit the net. O'Connell's shot. That's Mike O'Connell. Drills it, but he's well wide of the net, like the Islanders wanted to do it. Shoot it down the ice.
Less than a minute to go on the man advantage, and Ray Bourque sends Burridge up the left side. He couldn't pick up the pass, however, and Morrill bears it out into center ice and all the way back into the Bruins zone. And it's Bourque rounding the net with it. Ron Snelly had moved into forecheck. Bourque comes up the right side. Snelly tipped the pass. Peterson got a stick on it. Here's Bourque set up for Middleton and went off the goalpost. Middleton flipped it up at the backhand. Now at the right point. The long drive. Smith the pad save, and it ends up here on right wing. Patrick Flatley clears it out into center ice. Back for the Bruins, number 22, Michael Talbine. Talbine, long pass. Courtnall coming in off the left wing. Center Smith got a poke at that, and John Tonelli bears it up to Patrick Flatley. Flatley ran out of skating room as Kluzak took him into the board. Big Gord Kluzak carries it to the right side. Trying to muscle his way in. Has dumped it behind the goal. It's picked up and cleared by Boudelier. On the right side, LaFontaine, who is just out of the penalty box, gets control of it. Then was checked by Kluzak. The pass to Middleton to Courtnall. Back to Middleton. Comes in. Stops. Shoots. Smith the save. Courtnall is there. Jeff Courtnall trying to center it. Smith knocks it away. Courtnall rounds the net. Shoots. He scores. Courtnall comes from back of the net to give the Bruins a 2-1 lead.
The penalty was over. Pat LaFontaine was in the center ice area trying to make a 2-on-1 break, and the Boston Bruins score a goal. They couldn't get a goal on a power play, but here at even strength from behind the net, Courtnall has a little room. He comes around. Middleton's in front. He gets a step out in front, turns and throws it at the net, and it gets in behind Billy Smith, making it 2-1. Good second effort by Courtnall as he gets behind the net, gets away from an Islander check, walks out from the side of the net and puts it in. His 6th goal of the season makes it 2-1 for the Boston Bruins.
Now Janssen brings the Islanders into the Boston zone, played it to the right wing, Trottier after it. Bossy back in the net, couldn't center it out in front. On the mesh and held there long enough for a face-off. It's a break for the action, 16:55 left in the second period, and your score is the Bruins 2, the Islanders 1. Up 2-1, finishing a 6-game road trip here tonight. What makes the trip even longer, they tell me, is that they've been home twice during the road trip. They've scored 20 goals, have allowed 20 goals, and that is coming in here tonight and almost gave up the 22nd as the Islanders were right on the doorstep. There's Kasper's pass knocked down by Dwayne Sutter. Turn, shoots, blocked in front. Sutter dragged down as he went to shoot it here. LaFontaine, rather, got dragged down by Kasper, and Stevie Kasper is headed for the penalty box, setting up an Islander power play.
Taking away what looked to be a sure goal. Kasper grabs a hold of Pat LaFontaine, pulls him to the ice. Keens was committed. He had knocked the puck away as he made the initial stop. There's a shot by Sutter. There's the stop by Keens with the puck there. Pat LaFontaine ready to fire it into the top of the net. Kasper hauls him down, takes a holding penalty, and the Islanders go to the power play. Let's take a look. There's the loose puck. Boom. Kasper grabs a hold of LaFontaine. He was ready to let it fly. He had lots of net to shoot it into, but Kasper grabbed a hold of him and hauled him down and takes the holding penalty.
It's Trottier with Gilbert and Bossy, Potvin and Persson for the Islanders. Bossy picking up the puck following the draw, gives it to Persson. Stefan Persson across to Denny Potvin. Dumps one off in front. Gilbert got a poke at it. Bossy gets a shot away, and Keens, quick with the glove, makes the save and holds it.
Off the rebound, the puck comes back. It was rolling. That's the reason Bossy didn't get a good chunk of it. Here's Dennis Potvin, shot to the net. Wondering why Curran, number 34, didn't use his hand. Look at Bossy with the puck bouncing. He tried to drill it, but the puck bounced up on the top of his stick. Didn't get much on it.
Mike Bossy brought a 14-game point-scoring streak into tonight's action. Greg Gilbert gets knocked down. The puck comes back to Janssen, or to Persson rather, to Gilbert, back to Stefan, then over to Denny Potvin, and puck to Bossy, and he just tipped it wide. It was on the heel of his stick when he shot it. Now Persson keeps it in at the Boston line. Peterson dumps it out into center, and Potvin is back. 30 seconds gone in the Islander power play. Persson back to Potvin, up the middle of the ice, away from Middleton's check, comes over the Bruin line. Takes it along the boards, then drops it back to Bossy at the point. Bossy to Trottier. Trottier pulls the trigger. Keen's down to make the save. Gilbert gets a whack at it. Knocked away from him, picks it up now, gives it to Bossy. Mike Bossy takes a look. Drops it back to Potvin. Into the corner to Greg Gilbert. It's taken away from him and cleared. Potvin reaching up, couldn't knock it down as Telvin has cleared it down the ice.
Interesting that they used Peterson and Middleton for most of the penalty killing. Now there's 50 seconds left on the penalty to Casper.
Stefan Persson slapped one in off the glass that ended up in the mesh at the side of the net. Rested there, and they dig it off now as Keane signaled the face-off will come outside the blue line.
Peterson and Middleton, a big threat offensively generally. Let's take a look at some of the action by the Islanders on the power play. Brian Trottier faked the shot. The defenseman dives down. Then he tried to pick the far left-hand corner. Good stop by Keens as the puck is cleared away by Telvin in front of Keens. Yeah, I've always wondered, to use up Middleton, who's not the youngest player on the team, in penalty-killing situations. Of course, I suppose if the Bruins were ahead by 2 or 3 goals rather than by 1, they may opt not to do that.
Quite likely in this stage of the game, yeah, probably contributing factor. We watch LaFontaine bringing it into center ice for the Islanders. Played it in off the left wing boards. That's Gillies going it after it. Keens out of the net, plays it around to the near corner. Dwayne Sutter knocked it down, gave it to Gillies. To the blue line, Boudelier shot just wide on the glove side. Comes back to the point. Janssen gives it to Dwayne Sutter. To the blue line, to Boudelier. Into LaFontaine. Good stop. Oh, 2 of them by Keens. First off LaFontaine, and then he robs Gillies. Back to back, and it goes down the ice. Boudelier picks it up, and that does it. The penalty to Casper is over. The Islanders with a breaking pass. Off Dwayne Sutter into the Bruins zone. Keens clears it. It's picked up by Gillies. Fires one wide. Middleton reaching for it over on the right wing boards. Brings it back for the Bruins. Dumps it into the Islanders zone. In quickly is Nienhuis, and he shot it just wide. Comes to the side of the net and into the net as the Bruins pick up a loose puck, and Craig Nienhuis beats Bill Smith from close in. The Bruins have a 3-1 lead.
The looseness in their own end of the ice. We saw some of it in the first period, and here in the second period with the penalty just up. Let's take a look as Middleton battles Randy Boyd, and then Nienhuis grabs a loose puck, pulls it back, and pops it over the shoulder of Bill Smith. That puck kept in on a rush by Nienhuis. He kept it in as he knocked it behind the net. Then he takes it from Rick Middleton and pops it over the left shoulder into the top of the net. In behind Billy Smith. Quickly now, his 12th goal of the season. Nienhuis has made the score 3-1.
The Islanders down by a pair on home ice, and the Bruins step in again as Zimmer had his shot knocked down. Morrow being tied up in the play. Murray left it on the board. Zimmer got it to the point. Curran's shot just went wide. Tonelli starts out. The Islanders move into center, 3-on-2. Tonelli comes over the line. The pass cut through the skates of Flatley and is brought back by Charlie Zimmer. Middleton drew the only assist on that goal by Nienhuis. 3-1. Morrow back in his own end of the ice. Got it up right wing out of the reach of Flatley, and the Bruins take over again. Ronald got it to Crowder, who slapped it into the Islanders zone. Here's Morrow on the right wing board. Got it into center ice. Tonelli too well covered. The puck went right to the goaltender Keens. Right it off to Crowder. Crowder is dumped into center. Potvin there to Makala. Back to Denny Potvin. Up along the boards. It's loose momentarily, and now Crowder shoots it into the Islanders zone. Back is Morrow, starts out on the right side with a pass to Bossy. Ed Portinelli comes over the line. Checked from behind, and the puck has been cleared into center ice. Peterson chases it. Bill Smith comes out of the net. Takes it around the end boards for Denny Potvin. Up the left side, misses everybody, is going the length of the ice. And will be called back as Kluzak puts a stick on it. There's a break of the action with just under 13 minutes to play in the second period. The score now, the Bruins 3, the Islanders 1.
Boston can be a tough team when they get ahead. Only 3 teams in the league have given up more goals than the Boston Bruins. Philadelphia have given up 117, 118 by Washington, and the other team, well, Quebec Nordiques, excuse me.
Let's saw Kluzak rip one from the right point. Now O'Connell let one go that was blocked by Brian Trottier. Trottier's pass tipped at center ice. Recovered by Courtnall over to Kluzak on this left side. He shot it right to Potvin. Up to Trottier. 4 Bruins surround him, so he dumps it in. Going back is Courtnall. Then Trottier got tripped up. Play goes on. Bossy in forechecking. The puck knocked loose by Greg Gilbert. Put it in Bossy's skates. O'Connell tying up Bossy. Gilbert gets a stick on it. Trying to go back to the net. Tied up there and knocked down by Courtnall. O'Connell and Bossy didn't separate. Here's Gilbert with it. Out in front to Trottier and rolled over his stick. Brian Trottier dumps it in back of the net. Bossy and O'Connell are still there together. Gilbert there for the Islanders as well, but Middleton picked up the puck. He is checked by Trottier. Trying to get it to Bossy. Middleton and Bossy still back of the net. And finally, Bossy reaches into the corner to pick it up. Peterson moves over on him, knocking him down. Brian Trottier takes it out of his skate. Plays it into the corner. Back of the net, Keane slaps it around the boards, but right to Potvin. Into Gilbert. Back of the net to Bossy. Again, O'Connell knocks him down. Here's Trottier centering around in front, and Gilbert just played him off the skates of the goaltender, and out come the Bruins. Peterson drops it to Courtnall. Jeff Courtnall across the Islander line, and Vidic came over to knock it away from him. Gerald Vidic dumps it into center, but it's driven right back into the Islander zone. Potvin in after it. Tries the right wing with a pass for Bob Nystrom. Trottier back to Nystrom. Into the Boston zone. Nystrom trying to get in around a check. The puck goes loose. Cleared behind the net by Bork. And brought up the right side by Steve Kasper. Got it around. The defenseman, in this case Boudelier, it ended up in the Boston bench over on the far side. So there's a break here at the Nassau Coliseum. Just over 11 minutes remaining in the second period. The Bruins lead 3-1.
And Greg Gilbert trying to get things stirred up for the Islanders. They're all over the Boston Bruins. Watch Gilbert as he tries to convert and almost does. A Brian Trottier pass. He ends up in the net, not the puck.
Bob Bourne centers for John Tonelli and Bob Nystrom. Gerson and Boudelier on defense for the Islanders as Bourne shoots it around the boards to the Boston end. Left it there for Bork up the middle with a breaking pass off Kasper. Right down to Bill Smith, who has it in the catching glove and holds it, touches the glove against Kasper, and that stops the play.
That's a play the Islanders used to use a great deal, particularly when Butch Goring was an Islander. Dennis Potvin, time and again, used to stop behind the net. Goring would use that as the key to signal, and he'd break up the middle. There he is now in a suit, in his civvies, but when he was in the Islander uniform, he used to use that play that Kasper was just trying to convert from Ray Bork. Right up the middle, a nice quick pass from Dennis Potvin, and time and again, he'd break away.
Bruins got the draw. Facine to Bork over to this left side. The lean shot went off the catching glove of Bill Smith. Ends up back in the net. Bourne took the man. Boudelier came in, couldn't pick up the puck. Ends up in the near corner. Persson moves over. Collision in the Islander zone, and the Bruins come up with it again. Facine dumped it off to Bork. Ray Bork holds it, centers it across in front. Nobody there for the Bruins, and John Tonelli plays it ahead to Bourne. He's checked right at the Islander line. And they have to send Stephen Persson in to pick it up. Greg Nienhuis stepped into him. A centering pass got loose in front of the net and has been cleared by the New York Islanders. Facine cut through. Feet were cut out from under him, and the Islanders have iced the puck. They're nearing the midway point of the second period, and the Islanders are down by a pair of goals.
Brian Curran, the tough guy, one of the tough guys of the Boston Bruins. But a moment ago, Facine, Dave Facine, looking for a pass, almost had it. Let's take a look at some of the action as the Bruins bring it back into the Islanders' end of the ice. Here's a shot. Billy Smith, look at the look at that. He's got a good look at it. There's the shot. It's rising. It's a hard shot. Smith coming up in motion. Had good timing on it. Got a piece of it, sending it high up into the corner of the rink.
16,169 on hand here at the Nassau Coliseum tonight, watching the Islanders and the Bruins. Bruins battling for a puck along the boards in the Islander zone. Rache took it away from Charlie Simmer. Up the right side, off the skates of LaFontaine, but the pass was over 2 lines, and that's offside.
Something the Bruins aren't afraid to do either in the offensive zone is to flood it. Philadelphia for years have been doing that. They'll send all 3 players into the corner of the rink trying to come up with the puck. Tomorrow at 7:30, the Nets fly into Boston to take on Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics. And on Saturday at 10:30, the Nets are back home in a big matchup with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Nets and Boston tomorrow at 7:30, and the Nets and the Cavaliers Saturday at 10:30 right here on SportsChannel, number 1 in New York sports.
The team who scored the opening goal of the game tonight has rattled it around the boards in the Islander zone. It was cleared from in front of the net by LaFontaine. He and Morrow got crossed up a little, but they managed to dump it into center ice. Bird made it to the right side. Calvin has dumped it into the Islander zone again. Backboard is Morrow around the boards, intended for Gillies. It went right to Crowder. Instead, is shot on the short side, blocked by Smith, and it comes right out in front, but Wayne Sutter is there to pick it up. Sutter dumps it into the Boston zone. That's Gillies going it after it. Keane fires it away from him, thus no whistle. And the Bruins cleared to the line where it hit Potvin and came back in offside.
Charlie Zimmer that time trying to bring the puck from the back of the net. What he was really trying to do, he knew he couldn't get all the way out in front. He tried to bank it off Billy Smith, either his pads, his skate, or his stick, and put it in the net. Puck came rolling across in front as you take a close look at Gerald Diddick. Some of the hopes of the Islanders defensive corps riding on how Gerald Diddick improves in his second year in the National Hockey League.
Played the opening game of the season, did not play again until after he had been sent to Springfield for what I'm sure seemed like an eternity to Gerald.
Particularly when you come up as a youngster and you only play in the National Hockey League, you haven't tasted the minors.
The Islanders moving in, but Bakula didn't get the pass to Flatley here on right wing, and Courtnall has dumped it around the boards at the Boston end. That's Potvin stepping in front of Middleton, gave it to Ginelli. Ginelli and Klusak battled for it on the board. Ginelli kicked it around the right wing, and Middleton's clearing effort hit Bakula. Then knocked down, Flatley taken to the ice by Peterson's check, and O'Connell clears it to center. Courtnall gave it to Peterson, who's dumped it in wide of the net. Bill Smith plays it to the left wing for Ginelli. Slapped one across to the right side. Flatley moves up the wing, trying to get in around Klusak in the Boston end. Left the puck on the boards, and Courtnall has cleared it up to center for Peterson. He and Middleton into the Islander zone. The pass to Middleton, left it for O'Connell. He fires one that's blocked in front by Potvin. Nico Bakula starts out. Bakula working on Tallene, fires it goes off Tallene's stick and into the seats. There's a break in the action with 8 minutes and 13 seconds remaining in the second period. The Boston Bruins lead the New York Islanders 3-1.
Man that broke Bobby Orr's record also plays defense. Here, look at the shot by O'Connell. Dennis Potvin looking like a goaltender, timing it perfectly. Goes down and makes the save.
Got a look at the puck up on the boards. Dropped over on the far side and cleared down into the Islander zone. Thomas Johnson goes back. Johnson, who set up the Islanders' only goal of the game, makes the play across. Off Randy Boyd and held in on this left side. Nienhuis with a shot. Good glove save by Bill Smith as Nienhuis ripped one, although being tied up by Johnson. Randy Boyd takes it back to the net. Back to the left side to the pass to Gilbert. Up the boards to Trache. And Trache across to Thomas Johnson. He's into the Boston zone. Johnson pulls inside the defense and shot one that was deflected high into the seats behind the Boston goal.
Something the Boston Bruins have been doing, and they've been doing it successfully in this hockey game. They're sending the defenseman down the boards. A moment ago, Ray Bourque charging down the boards, breaking up the Islanders. One of the things that's the hardest thing for a forward to do is pick up the puck in his own end of the ice. There's Nienhuis' shot a moment ago. Bill Smith picked it off and shot it up around the boards, and it was from that point. Here's Nienhuis again as he off balance gets a good shot away. Bill Smith gracefully picks it off, kept the play in motion.
Now Boudelier fires from off left wing that was blocked at the defense and kicked behind the Boston net. Charlie Simmer has it here on the left side. Worked it around to the right wing to Crowder. The pass right to Burridge, comes in with a shot. Smith makes the save. LaFontaine reached for the rebound, but it was banged right on by Kern, and Smith, apparently, the referee thought he had hold of it. He did not. He had played it off with Wayne Sutter, but the whistle is sounded, and the result is a face-off to the Islander end of the ice.
Young referees get caught sometimes. Dan Morelli getting caught that time, anticipating that Smith was going to hang on to the puck. Smith had lots of room and lots of time. He doesn't hang on to it unless he has to. He unloaded it just as the whistle was coming to the lips of the referee, and he blew it.
LaFontaine facing off with Randy Burridge. Puck ends up in a pileup, comes out of that pileup and back to Curran. Curran moves in deep, lets it go through a screen, and it just went wide of the net. Benny Morrow reaches in to knock it around the boards for Bob Bourne. Bourne down the left side has Wayne Sutter moving up with him. They cross the Boston line. Bourne made the play to LaFontaine, and his backhander went wide of the net. Here are the Bruins starting up. Dean down the left side. Dean across the line to Simmer. Dropped it back. Crowder moves in. Potvin checks him beautifully. And Wayne Sutter has cleared it out for the Islanders. Or Kluzak waits for his teammates to get back in. Then was checked, and it goes into the timekeeper's bench right beneath us. There's a break in the action now with 6 minutes and 45 seconds left in the second period. And the Bruins continuing to lead 3-1.
Delvine, a good skating defenseman. Let's see here. He comes across the line. Here's the shot. Watch Dennis Potvin a moment ago. You saw him break up a play with a timely block. That time he plays the body, takes the player away, gets the puck.
Trottier, Bossy, and Gilbert, the Islander forwards. Mertz on and Potvin on defense. Offhand pass off the stick on the right wing, and Bossy has shot it into the Boston zone. Trottier unable to center it as O'Connell came up with a big play for the Bruins. O'Connell into the Islander zone. Potvin took the puck away from him and has dumped it into center ice. Kluzak here on the left side of the Boston defense. Played it off Courtnall into the Islander zone, and Potvin over to give it to Bossy, to Gilbert. Off his stick to Trottier. And Trottier dumps it wide of the Boston goal. Doug Keane handling it back of the net. Plays it high along the glass. It'll be picked up by Courtnall. Jeff Courtnall. Over to Peterson, cruising down right wing. Middleton went to the front of the net. The puck didn't arrive as Trottier picked it off and has given it to Greg Gilbert. Shooting it in. The Islanders go for a player change as Keane beat it up. Out to the left side for Courtnall. Ahead to Peterson. Slowed up by Tonelli's check. Courtnall trailing the play. Tonelli lost it in the skate. Courtnall to Peterson. Centers it across. Bourne with a shot that missed the net. Ends up in the corner. Johnson ties up the man. Coming up with the puck is Mikko Makela. Had trouble getting out of the zone end of the ice. Makela works it off the boards to Flatley. Up to John Tonelli. Back to Johnson, who was moving up. Johnson over the Boston line. Left the puck for Randy Boyd. Comes in with a shot. That tipped just wide of the net. Tonelli goes after it at the side of the net. Tonelli got it to Flatley. In front to John Tonelli, and it was knocked away from him. Bork slaps it around the boards in his own end. Courtnall and Johnson collide. The puck comes out to center ice. Picking it up is Dave Cassine. He is checked in the Islanders zone, and here's Mikko Makela. Tripped up by Courtnall. Play goes on. Casper brings it into the Islanders zone. Boyd takes him on the boards. The puck comes out over the line. Shot back in under the late offside. That's cleared now. Patrick Flatley is over the line. Takes a hit. Johnson had trouble picking up the puck. And Cassine for Boston just clears it out into center ice. Flatley pulls away from Casper. Turns and lost it. Picks it up again. Patrick Flatley over the line. Heavy checking by the Bruins as Flatley dumped it to the corner for Tonelli. Bork tight on top of him. Battling toward is Cassine, and he finally clears it into the center ice zone. Diddick back, being chased by Nienhuis. Diddick dumped it upside the line. It's recovered there by Dwayne Sutter. Sutter has to wait. Bork can drag Tonelli down to the ice, back at the Boston end. The Islanders did not penetrate. Fontaine gives it to Dwayne Sutter. Sutter into the Boston zone. The pass was blocked, and down the ice comes Randy Burridge. Burridge into the Islanders zone, gave it to Crowder across to the right side for Nienhuis. But the center one that's cleared aside by Smith. And with 4 minutes remaining in the second period, Boudelier dumps it into the far corner out of the reach of Diddick. Randy Burridge will be 20 next week. Up the puck in deeper for the Bruins. There's Paul Boudelier playing it around to Dwayne Sutter. Sutter up to Pat LaFontaine. Ian Gillies crossed the center ice line. Gillies took the pass, tried to set up LaFontaine, and he was slowed up from behind. Collided with Keens, knocking the stick out of his hands, but it matters not as the Bruins have dumped it down the ice and will be called for having iced the puck with 3 minutes and 35 seconds left in the second period.
A couple of Islanders that have worked well together each time they played. Pat LaFontaine and Clark Gillies. That time a good defensive move by the Bruins. Takes a scoring attempt away. Here's the pass. Clark Gillies, a beauty. There's LaFontaine being checked from behind. by Charlie Simmer. Good defensive move. Excuse me, that is not. That's Brian Kern, the defenseman who has caught up the ice. Kern got back quickly to take a scoring attempt away from Pat LaFontaine.
Now the Islanders sending out Trottier, Gilbert, and Bossy with Persson and Potvin on defense. Gary Peterson, you see him lining up. Missed most of last season with that shoulder operation. Assist. Back to play and play very well for the Bruins. Mike O'Connell tries the left side. Off the boards to Courtnall. Back into Kluzak, and it bounced over to his stick. So Keens comes out to give it to O'Connell. O'Connell directs some traffic. Bounce it up the right wing boards, out into center ice. Potvin has it. Gave it to Gilbert, to Bossy. Late offside is called now as the Islanders started into the Boston end, but without the puck, and we're down to the final 3 minutes and 11 seconds of the second period. With this break in the action, the Bruins lead 3-1. Puck dropped and cleared back into the Boston zone following the face-off. Kluzak comes out of there with it. Ran out of skating room as Trottier cut him off and then dumped it in just out of the reach of Bossy. He plays it around the corner boards. It hit Trottier. Peterson is there to clear it, but right to the stick of Bossy. Put it out in front. Gilbert couldn't get a whack at it. Comes back to Potvin, and his shot hits Middleton and bounces into center ice. Courtnall back to Middleton. Works his way in on Persson, who checked him neatly. Persson lost the puck. Peterson's drive was blocked by Smith. Middleton trying to come out of the corner. His pass deflected by Persson, and Gilbert has cleared it to the center ice zone and now back into the Boston end.
Pretty good exchange, some pretty good goaltending, some pretty good defensive moves after some big mistakes by the Islanders.
Now the puck cleared down into the Islanders zone. Yes, it's loose again in their own end of the ice, but this time did not have to pay the price. Von Nystrom got it into the Boston zone. Lee here on the right side, up to the center ice. Morrow for the Islanders, moves up, got it to Gillies. He's checked right at the Boston line. Gillies with it again. Can't make the play, however. Steve Kasper, tied up by Bourne. Two of them battled for it right in front of the Boston bench, and now have frozen it long enough for a face-off.
Pace has stayed in the hockey game. Both teams working diligently. A minute and 58 seconds left in the second period. Back-to-back goals, Courtnall and Nienhuis. Let's take a look at some of that exchange. Good play by Stefan Persson as he plays the puck and the body. Then he misfired on the puck. There's the shot by Peterson. What a stop by Billy Smith. Another loose puck in the Islanders into the ice. Bill Smith bails his teammate out.
Ray Bork dumped it in. Gillies tips it out into the center ice area, and Bourne started up after it. Went to the wing. Gillies double-teamed there by Facine and Kasper, so they'll hold it for a face-off. Not a whole lot of difference between the two teams since the last time they met. The Islanders have played 19 games, picked up 19 points. The Bruins have played 17 games, and the result, 17 points. Just about even Steven as far as what's gone on since the 21st of November.
500 hockey. People look at teams like the Boston Bruins and the New York Islanders and think of better than that. They think of close to 600 hockey when you're talking about the two teams playing each other tonight.
The Islanders struggled through the month of December, really. 5 wins, 5 losses, and 4 ties, and just got to the 500 mark for the month with that New Year's Eve win in overtime at Detroit. They're down 3-1 on home ice as Trottier got the pass to Flatley. Is shot right on. Keens to save, and it comes off the glass. Flatley gets it into Brian Trottier. The point. Randy Boyd lets it go. That's kicked out by Keens as he slid across to the right. Randy Burridge clears it out to center, down into the Islanders zone. Chasing it is Thomas Johnson. Out there before it went far enough for icing. Boyd is checked on the far wing. Puck cleared around behind the net. Going back for it is Patrick Flatley. Flatley dumps it out into the center ice zone. Less than a minute to go in the second period. It comes off the boards, and Calvin picks it up. Almost lost it to Tonelli. Calvin now across to Courtnall. This is Curran shooting it into the Islanders zone. Chasing it is Betty Persson. Persson, right side for Mikko Makula. Makula comes over center ice, pushes it into the Boston zone, then got taken down. Ray Bork picks it up back in the net, fed it up to Barry Peterson. Peterson, Courtnall, and Middleton come to center. That's Middleton into the Islanders zone on the backhand. Left the trailer pass to Courtnall, who rounds the net. Trying to poke it in the short side. It ends up in the corner. Jeff Courtnall with it again. Centers, there's Middleton waiting. Takes a look, bothered from behind, and knocked down by Potvin. Portnoy trying to come off the boards. Persson puts the grips on him, and the puck went into the corner a little deeper. Potvin has it now. Potvin around to Bossy. Hold it away from Tallinn. It went right to Peterson, and a shot kicked out by Smith. Bossy goes after it. Left it for Potvin, and that's going to do it for the second period. It's all Boston as far as the score sheet is concerned. The game was tied 1-1 at the end of the first period, but the Bruins strike for two by the 6-minute mark of the second period. From there, neither team can put the puck in the net again. Butch Goring watching as his team waits at the players' bench while the Islanders vacate the ice surface, and has to be much pleased with what he has seen to this point. His team has had trouble winning on the road. They've had only one win in their last 13 road games coming into the Nassau Coliseum. But over two periods, they lead the New York Islanders. Your scores: the Bruins 3, the Islanders 1. We'll have a recap of that second period action right after these messages.
Stan Fischler here at Nassau Coliseum. 3-1, the Bruins over the Islanders at the end of the second period. And my guest is Valerie Potvin, who was behind the scenes in the planning of the great show for your husband. Tell us how much you knew and how involved you were and how you kept it from Denny.
Well, I knew everything, and it was the hardest secret to keep. We had to hide everything from him. The plans of bringing his mother down and his brother and all his friends. And they're all staying at our house, and I had to hide all the groceries today so he wouldn't know that anybody was coming. And it's just hard to keep a secret.
Denny was saying at the end of the first period that when he looked around for you, he thought you were late. Didn't know you. When did they put you in the car and to get you out on the ice?
Just a few minutes before I went out on the ice. And I didn't know about the car, actually.
You did?
No, that was a big surprise.
Now, you met Denny at a party. You did a lot of modeling in Europe. You were based in London. You didn't know anything about hockey, anything about the Islanders. Did you know that Denny was a hockey player?
I was told he was a hockey player at the party, but I'd never heard of Dennis Potvin or the Islanders at that point.
And you've had a very successful modeling career. Now you've made the transition. You have daughter Madeline. She's about 5 months old. Have you given up modeling?
Yes, I have.
Why?
Completely. Well, I want to devote my time to my husband and my family, my little girl. It's a full-time occupation. There really isn't any time to do anything else.
How much do you miss your career?
Sometimes I do miss it, but I'm just so involved with what I'm doing now. It's a good part of my life, and I remember it with fond memories.
One of the highlights of the presentation was the presentation of an automobile, and they pointed out that your husband Denny is a great fisherman. What about yourself? Do you go fishing with him?
Yes, I do. We love to go fishing.
And who's the better fisher person?
Dennis is a much better fisher person than I am, but I'm luckier.
When you got involved with Denny and you began coming to hockey, how did you feel about the game?
I felt it was very exciting, but very violent, and that's something that I find still difficult to get used to.
Do you get emotional at the games?
I get frightened sometimes.
Yeah.
A little bit frightened. Yeah.
Of what?
Yeah. Somebody might get hurt.
Do you worry about him when he's on the ice? I mean, do you focus on him more than the other players?
Yes, of course. Yeah. But I'm a good worrier. I can find a reason to worry about everything.
The fans, some of the fans who I spoke to after the presentation, wondered how choked up Denny was. When he started to make the speech, he seemed to not flow. You were there. Tell us, what was really going on with him?
I think he really was choked up. He had no idea what was happening. He didn't know his mother was here and that any of this was going to happen, and he was at a loss for words.
Now, when did you...
It's rare for Dennis.
I know that Jill Nee of the Islander staff orchestrated this. Now, when did you originally find out that his mother was going to come?
Just about a week before we started planning everything. Jill called me at home and told me a little bit about what was going on, and we started planning from there.
How long do you think he's going to play?
You're going to have to ask him that.
Thanks very much, Valerie Potvin. We'll have Jiggs and Eddie right after this.
Came this dish that looked like an ice cream sundae with whipped cream, cherries, sauce, you name it. They dig in. Something a little hard in there. A hockey puck. hockey pucks for dessert. Nice job, Mickey, getting your buddies like that. The Islanders have to get something early to get back into this hockey game. They're trailing 3-1 as the third period gets underway, and the Bruins backed into their own end of the ice. And that's Celine with the puck, has dumped it into center ice. Johnson gave it to Gillies, to Dwayne Sutter, onto the left side. LaFontaine went in after it, backhanded it wide of Doug Keane. Keane plays it around the boards. Courtnall comes up the left side, but Boyd moves over to knock it away from him. Got it into the skates of Johnson. It turns, plays it to the right side. There's Dwayne Sutter with a shot that just missed the net. Mark Gillies dumps one off back of the net. In and out of the skates of Dwayne Sutter. Celine tied him up, but Gillies was there. Tried to set up LaFontaine at the side of the net. Peterson broke up that play, and Courtnall comes to Sutter. Left it at the Islander blue line. This is LaFontaine turning over to Denny Potvin. Potvin fires it to the right side. Gilbert goes in after it. Works it around the boards. Keene's out of the net. Left it for Ray Bork. On to Charlie Simmer. Simmer's pass goes to Crowder. Bounced off his stick. Picked it up and shot it wide. Here's Pearson now for the Islanders. To Mike Bossy. To Brian Trottier. Bossy trailing. Picks up the pass at center. Dumps it into the Boston zone. Stops it back of the net, and Kluzak clears it. Charlie Simmer takes over in the far corner. Simmer's pass through the skates of O'Connell comes to right wing for Crowder. Crowder shooting it into the Islanders zone. Takes it to the left wing boards. And Trache rides him into the corner. Crowder dug it loose for Simmer, who couldn't center. Pearson on top of him. Randy Burridge gets bumped in the Islander end of the ice, and up comes Potvin. A breaking pass out of the reach of Bossy went right to Keene to the Boston goal mouth. Then to Curran, backhands it off the boards, and Simmer relays it. It comes back in over the line, however. O'Connell cleared it out. Connor, counter, he just flipped it high in the air, and we watch the Islanders regroup. Paul Boudelier. Boudelier rushes the puck into center ice and shot it wide of Keene. Flatly and after gets a shot away, and it was deflected wide of the net. Keene dumps it into the corner. Morrow goes racing and after it. His efforts to get there succeeded, but the puck had been knocked away, and the Islanders trying to hold it in at the blue line did. Flatley gets checked here on the near wing, and the Bruins come to center ice. Nienhuis dumping it in. John Tonelli and Nienhuis going after it. Moves back to the net. Tonelli forces Nienhuis wide. Then he dropped one toward the net, was blocked. Here's Boudelier. The left wing boards out of the reach of Tonelli. The Bruins touch at last. There will be no icing. Being back, finds the right side with a pass to Cassine, to Crowder, to Casper rather, and his shot drifted wide to Bill Spett's catching glove. The Bruins trouble picking it up in the Islanders zone. Lane is checked, and here's Greg Gilbert starting out. Gilbert comes over center ice into the Boston zone. Needs to move to get around Bork, but then couldn't catch up with the puck. It comes back to Randy Boyd. Boyd gives it to Bourne. Bob Bourne with a drive. Deflected in front of the net at the defense, and then Gilbert is knocked down. There'll be a holding penalty against the Boston Bruins. The Islanders go to the power play. 3 minutes and 5 seconds gone in the third period. A break in the action with the Bruins leading 3-1.
Early pressure by the Islanders has the Boston Bruins into their own end of the ice. There's a shot. Look at Bob Nystrom, number 23. Look at him limping. That shot by Bob Bourne hit him in the back of the leg as Ray Bork takes down Greg Gilbert. Gets a penalty. The Islanders trailing by 2 get a power play.
Bruins clear it, but not out. Potvin, having knocked it down at the line, fires one. He scores! Potvin on his night. It may have been kicked in front of the deflection, but it was the captain who let him go on the power play. It's 3-2.
He's had some good shots in the hockey game. That one, he was looking for the far right-hand corner. The puck clearly changed direction. There's Mrs. Potvin, Dennis's mother, a happy lady. Let's take a look at that replay. The captain gets a opportunity on the power play. He rips a hard shot. There it goes. That changed direction. Now, whether Brian Trache tipped it or whether it hit the Bruin defenseman, Potvin got a good rip at it. That could have hit Taldine and deflected in behind Keenes, but the Islanders have come within 1 now. It's 3-2. We'll say now that it's Dennis Potvin's until we're corrected.
And if it stands, he'll be only 2 goals shy of Bobby Orr's record in that area. Of course, he's already smashed Orr's record as the highest scoring defenseman in the history of the National Hockey League, and for that was honored here tonight. Here's the announcement coming.
By number 19, Brian Trottier.
It is Brian Trottier being credited with the goal.
Dennis Potvin.
So Penny continues to trail Bobby Orr by 3. There's Mike Bossy approaching the 500 goal mark, coming down the right side for the Islanders. The pass through to Trottier in the backhand. He shoots. Keens makes the save. Trottier with the rebound. Check back to the net. Good job by the Bruins, number 18, Keith Crowder. Now Crowder clears it, but right to Bossy, in front to Trottier, and Keens, gambling, reached out and knocked it away from Brian Trottier. Bruins have shot at the length of the ice. It will be called here. Trottier with his 16th goal of the season. At 3:11 gets the Islanders closer. It's a power play goal.
Good opportunity. More pressure by the Islanders. They come right back. The Bruins trying to get out of their own end of the ice. Let's take another look at the goal scored. Dennis Potvin rips the puck. Brian Trottier, there he is turning in front of the net. He wants to get a look at it. He wants to get his stick down. And as the puck comes charging through, he puts the stick down and just changes the direction enough to put it inside the right goal post, making the score 3-2.
Fontaine is at center ice for the Islanders. Clark Gillies on left wing. Wayne Sutter on the right. Fontaine won the draw. The puck has been cleared to the boards. Bruins flip it high at the blue line. Potvin knocked it down. LaFontaine dumps it in deeper. Ray Bourque couldn't pick it up. Wayne Sutter has given it to Clark Gillies. Comes to the side of the Boston net, then went behind it, put it right through in front of the net. In comes Potvin. Took it back to the goal, but Bourque was there in time to pick it up. Lead pass into the center ice zone off Wayne Sutter, recovered by Middleton. Across to the left wing, Portnall in deep, and he shot it wide. Ray Bourque center comes in off the left side at least, then got checked. And Clark Gillies taking over for the Islanders, wheels it across to Persson. Persson out to Pat LaFontaine, and went off his stick, and Bourque backhands it into the Islanders zone where Potvin plays it across to Wayne Sutter. To Persson. From Persson to Potvin here on the left side. Middleton moves up on him. Potvin has given it to Persson. Up the center to Gillies. Got it back into his own zone. It's taken by Persson to Potvin. Potvin finds an opening, plays it to the right side. Flatley runs into Casper at the Boston line, and up come the Bruins. Portnall sends Casper over the line. Drop pass. Portnall in the backhand, and his pass intercepted and cleared by Tonelli. John Tonelli plays it to the right side for Flatley. Dumps it in right on target. Keene steering it aside for O'Connell. Mike O'Connell dumps it into the center ice zone. Boudelier has to hustle back for the Islanders. All Boudelier plays it around to the right side to Flatley. He's checked by Kluzak as the Bruins defense pinches in. Comes to the right side. Cassine plays one back of the net. Centering attempt is deflected, comes through and butt down, cleared by Boudelier. Cassine gets a stick on it. Cassine trying to find Nienhuis in front of the net. Boudelier tied up Cassine. Nienhuis goes in after, got knocked down. And John Tonelli starts out with the puck. Three Bruins get back. Tonelli comes over center ice, cuts to the right, into the Boston zone. Tonelli finds some room, shoots, he scores!
John Tonelli with a good rush. The defense of the Boston Bruins get tied up. Tonelli's shot eludes Doug Keens, and the score is tied at 3 apiece. Here come the Islanders. John Tonelli. Now watch him go to his right. Right here. Bang. Pat LaFontaine runs into Kluzak, and on comes John Tonelli, and he rips the shot into the far side. End-to-end rush as John Tonelli gets things motoring through the center ice area, and in front of Kluzak, he takes a turn. Kluzak gets taken out of the play. That allows John Tonelli to get in close enough to put the puck in the net. His second goal of the game, his 13th of the season. Keens is being taken out of the hockey game. No, it's a timeout, I guess, is what's happening.
Timeout called by the Bruins. Butch upset with the officiating. Is Keene very upset, screaming at them, so we'll step out here for a while as well. The score now, for this break, is the Islanders 3, the Bruins 3.
Butch Goring visibly upset with the non-call. I think what he's talking about is a non-interference call on Kluzak, as Tonelli kind of went out around the outside, a pickoff play you'll see in basketball.
Now the Bruins, after having taken the lead earlier, forced into a tie, moved in with a good scoring opportunity that was broken up by Bill Smith as he stepped in front of Fazine. Bob Bourne can't get out of there. Fazine off the right side, fires one, glove save by Bill Smith, and Gillies has the rebound. Shoots it around to the right wing boards. Bob Nystrom picks it off the boards and gets away from a check. Comes out over the line with a pass to Gillies. Mark Gillies into the Boston zone. The puck rolling on him. Fazine back to clear it into center ice, and Denny Potvin has it there. Potvin over to Persson. Shoots it in around the boards. It skipped away from the stick of Doug Keens, and Bossy works it back to the net. And Kern picking it up, didn't play it out. Gilbert gets stripped up by Simmer. Trottier digs it off the boards, got it back to Persson at the point. Misfired on it. It stays in the Boston zone, recovered by Trottier. Ryan Trottier chased to the corner with Passine, and the Bruins able to knock it loose as Kasper starts out. Steve Kasper down the left side, shoots it into the Islanders zone. Stefan Persson hustles back. In comes Charlie Simmer to get a piece of Persson. The puck comes back to the point. Burridge with a shot. That's one off Greg Gilbert. Comes loose for Denny Potvin. Potvin brings the Islanders into center ice. Over the Boston line, Potvin holding the puck, and a shot is deflected high and wide. Ray Bourque digs it out of the right wing corner and backhands it outside the Boston line. Up comes Simmer, steps into the Islanders zone, gave it to Crowder over on the wing, back to Simmer, and Potvin reaching in front, broke up the play. Potvin playing the puck is going to get the gate for tripping. There's a break here with... Oh, wait a minute.
Charlie Simmer ends up in the net, falling over Billy Smith. Dennis Potvin took the feet out from underneath Simmer as the Bruins closing in, trying to unlock the deadlock or the tie. I guess it's not a deadlock, it's a tie. There's the original play. There's Simmer. He got his feet pulled out from underneath him by Potvin. He carried it straight ahead into Bill Smith, couldn't control himself, lost his balance. Dennis Potvin gets his second penalty of the hockey game. Either tripping or interference. It's a tripping penalty, excuse me, at 7:42. The Boston Bruins, who have seen the Islanders, Trottier and John Tonelli, tie the score at 3 apiece, will get a power play opportunity.
See the story, 0 for 2 with the man advantage tonight, the Boston record. Ray Bourque dumps it into the corner. There's Rick Middleton playing it in front, and Courtnall couldn't get a stick on it. Yet Courtnall stripped of the puck by Trottier. Couldn't clear it out as O'Connell knocked it down. Here's Courtnall on the wing. Trottier chases him back a little further. O'Connell digs it loose. Middleton had it, lost it. Courtnall gets stripped up as he played it to the left point. Ray Bourque turns, gives it to O'Connell. Trottier knocked it away. O'Connell recovers. That's in. Takes a look. Nobody moving for Boston. It goes back to Bourque. His long shot skips just wide of the net. Rick Middleton with it now. Middleton left it for Peterson. Walks out of the corner. Centered. Courtnall had it in the skates. O'Connell with a shot. He scores! Mike O'Connell on the power play.
Mike O'Connell, he started the play back in his right point position. He carried the puck across in front of Ray Bourque, and from there, the Islanders, one out of position. There's O'Connell finishing the play right between the legs of Billy Smith, regaining a 1-goal lead from the side of the net. Good opportunity as the puck comes across. There's the shot by O'Connell, his 3rd goal of the season. Mike O'Connell giving the Bruins a 1-goal lead.
So the penalty to Potvin costs. And the Bruins are up 4-3. The Islanders dump the puck out of their own end. Chasing it back for the Boston Bruins, Michael Talveen.
Boston goal is
Loose here on the right wing boards. Talveen recovers in time. Got it into the Islanders zone. Andy Boyd cleared that, but right to Keith Crowder. Crowder, a wraparound pass to Simmer.
number 10,
Down in front off Burridge's stick, and a collision knocks Makula to the ice, and we'll get a penalty for interference against Keith Crowder of Boston. So the Islanders are going to go to the power play with a break here. The score now, the Bruins 4, and the New York Islanders 3.
Good scoring. If he wants to get mad, he should get mad at Keith Crowder. He takes an interference penalty in the offensive zone. Right here, Crowder moving in front of the net. Pulls the feet out from underneath. The Islander defenseman gets a penalty for interference in the offensive zone. 11:07 remaining, and the Bruins have a 1-goal lead. The Islanders are on a power play.
Trottier, Tonelli, and Bossy up front. Persson and Potvin on defense, and it's Bossy starting out with the puck. The Bruins got all 4 men back quickly. So Bossy forced to dump it in, and Keens plays it around the boards, but right to Bossy. Centered it in front. It got away from Potvin. It's up the right side, controlled now by Ray Bourque. Bourque into the Islanders zone, trying to cut around Persson. Stop, centers. The puck bounces into the far corner. Trottier being tied up by Talene. And there is John Tonelli starting out. Tonelli carries it over center ice and shoots it in. It skips around the boards and got away from Keens. Trottier in after it. Rick Middleton took it away from him and has cleared it high and down into the Islanders zone. Potvin will pick it up there. 45 seconds gone and the man advantage for the Islanders. Again, 4 Bruins back at their blue line. LaFontaine can't get over the line. Middleton cleared it. Got away from Potvin, who recovers now and gives it to Thomas Janssen. Janssen down the right side into the Boston zone. Plays it around behind the net. Keynes forced out of the goal. Is able to get some help, and the Bruins again force the Islanders to chase the puck. This time it's Boudelier turning in front of the net. All Boudelier over the center ice stripe. Carries it across the Boston line. Made the play to the right wing boards. Gillies in after it. Mark Gillies feeds the point. That's Boudelier. Lets the shot go, and it's blocked in front of the net. LaFontaine trying to kick it away from the check. He was grabbed. Now gets control of the puck. LaFontaine looks for somebody. Gave it to Boudelier at the point. Slaps it high around the glass to Gillies waiting back of the net. Curran moves in on him. It's centered back by Bossy, and a diving Janssen is able to hold it in at the blue line. Into the corner, Curran and Gillies collide. Ryan Curran handed the puck to Pat LaFontaine to the point to Boudelier. Pulls to the right, fired one that hit O'Connell, and it comes outside the blue line. That'll do it for the Islander power play. They're unable to get back into the Boston zone and can't get into a tie with the man advantage. Burridge moving in is checked. Paul Boudelier feeds it across to the right side. Pat LaFontaine holds on to it. Now gives it to Janssen up the middle of the ice. There's an Islander down in the Boston zone as Dwayne Sutter has been sent flying. And the Islanders have to regroup at center ice. Potvin plays it to the right side. Nobody there. In a white uniform at least. Rick Middleton was there and has shot it into the Islander zone. Smith leaves it back of the net for Denny Potvin. Potvin up to Mikko Makela. Makela's pass goes to Dwayne Sutter. It's picked up again by Makela. The return pass intercepted by Courtnall. Jeff Courtnall carries it into the Boston zone. Has given it to Bork. On the left side, Courtnall moves up quickly. He's checked at the Islander blue line, and Persson sprung it loose. Gilbert couldn't get started, however, and Bork has cleared it high around the glass in the Islander zone. It's picked up by Potvin. Right side to Dwayne Sutter. Sutter, a long breaking pass off the boards. Gilbert chases it, but Bork got back in time. Bruins come to center ice. Courtnall steps in over the line on the right wing. Shoots one. Smith the glove save, and he'll hold it for a face-off. They have 8 minutes and 1 second remaining in the third period. And the break of the action with the score, Boston 4 and the Islanders 3.
You know who the last Boston Bruin to win the Calder Cup after Ray Bork? Or before, I should say.
Now you got me off here completely. After Ray Bork?
No, before. They haven't had one since Bork, but before Ray Bork, you know who the last Bruin to win the Calder Trophy? Watching Bork, he gets a lot of ice time. Look out.
Here's a chance for Trottier coming right in on goal. He shoots, he scores! The Bruins play giveaway at their blue line, and Trottier makes them pay the price.
Talk about Calder Trophy winners. Ryan Trottier regains the lead as the Bruins get crossed up. Right there, they lose it. Kasper loses it. Kluzak gets caught up the ice. He tries to chop Ryan Trottier down, but Trottier and an awkward-looking Keynes. Watch Keynes. Kind of went for the fake. Got himself in an awkward position, and Brian Trottier slides it along the ice underneath the outstretched right arm of Doug Keynes, and the Islanders have tied it up at 4 apiece.
The goal at the 12-11 mark. Second of this night. The T's are doing the job. Sinelli and Trottier with a pair. Here's a chance for Crowder with a backhander. Smith the save, and he holds it right up on top of the goal crease.
Boston entering back in a hurry, and with a flurry, number 18, Keith Crowder gets a pass from Ray Bork, pulls it away from Gillies. He gets a weak backhand shot away. Bill Smith, with an unobstructed view, makes the stop, taking a chance away from Keith Crowder and the Boston Bruins after Brian Trottier, with his 17th goal of the season, tied it at 4.
Bob Bourne getting the only assist on that Islander goal, and we watched Tonelli clearing it into center, and a chance for Flatley. Got tripped up by Bork. Play goes on, and the Bruins make a 2-line pass. That's the reason for the play stoppage, and gives the crowd, obviously a lot of Islander fans here at the Nassau Coliseum. Mr. Marinelli is hearing it from them.
Wasn't exactly a deliberate call. Pretty tough for the referee to make that call a penalty. Clearly, Pat Flatley went down. It was in the center ice area, and he had a little help from the Bruin player.
Now Janssen gets it to Tonelli. His backhander is blocked by Bork, and Keith Crowder starts out. Crowder Wanted a man up front. That was Simmer who comes over the Islander line. Left it on the boards as Boyd took him out heavily. Andy Burridge dumps it back to the Islander net. Bill Smith playing it around to right wing for Flatley. Tips it just out of the reach of Makela. Up comes Tonelli. Ian Makela over the line. The pass to Mikko Makela. He shoots. He scores!
Through the first half of the hockey game, the Islanders were loose in their own end of the ice. Now it's the Boston Bruins' turn. In the center ice area, Mikko Makela takes a pass as the Bruins get outnumbered in the center ice. Look at the beautiful play by Tonelli, I believe, as he passed. So here's John Tonelli. He makes the play to Mikko Makela, and the 2-on-1 converted with that shot into the top right-hand corner. Makela showing some accuracy with his shot as John Tonelli gets away from the Bruin forward. There's the pass, and Makela with a quick snapping wrist shot into the top right corner with his 6th goal of the season has given the Islanders the lead for the first time.
LaFontaine back in his own end has played it around the boards. The Bruin defenseman Curran kept it into Middleton right out in front. Nobody there for the Bruins. And the Islanders come to center as Gillies and Wayne Sutter move up. Pass to LaFontaine went off his skates at the Boston line and in offside. So there is a break in the action. 6.5 minutes to play in the third period, and your score now is the Islanders 5, the Bruins 4.
He scored the overtime goal against Detroit on New Year's Eve, and now he's given the Islanders a 1-goal lead here, 5-4. His 6th goal of the season, Mikko Makela.
His command of the game and his command of the English language improving all at the same time as he has scored some big goals. Dwayne Sutter gets checked in the Boston end. The Bruins hand the puck away to Dwayne Sutter. Comes out in front, shoots off the goal post. It's slapped around the boards, held in by Ken Morrow. On the backhand, a shot steered out by Keens, and Gillies has the rebound. To Dwayne Sutter to LaFontaine. He shoots, but just missed the net. Gillies puts it off to the side of the goal, and Curran slaps it off the boards. The Bruins in trouble in their own end of the ice have turned at the length of the ice to get a whistle.
Something the Islander fans have not had a good look at in a long time is constant pressure by the Islanders as they pour it across the boards, line after line, keeping Butch Goring and his team pinned in around Doug Keens. Take a look at some of that pressure. Here's a shot off the goalpost as Dwayne Sutter makes a nice move. He comes out, turns, and then lets it go for the short side. The rising shot. He's looking for the top right-hand corner, the spot that Mikko Makela a moment ago gave the Islanders a 1-goal lead with. This time he rung it off the goalpost.
Now Makela following the face-off, got it back to Johnson, to Makela. Trying to get away from the check, is tripped up, and the Bruins come to center ice. Greenhouse on the left side, shot it in over the line. Boyd cleared it out. Steve Casper backhands it in. Andy Boyd clears that out to center ice. Messine waited long enough to stay onside, and Casper goes in after it. He gets tied up with Randy Boyd. The puck comes loose. Back to the point. It's Bork letting one go. Smith the save. The rebound kicked loose in the nick of time. Here's Mikko Makela carrying it to center ice. Shoots it into the Boston territory. Tonelli goes in after, catching Keens way out of the goal mouth. The Bruins able to play it up the right wing for Cassine. Keens shoots it into the Islanders zone where Persson knocked it out of the air. Greenhouse at center ice, shoots it right back in again. 5 minutes and 5 seconds left in the third period. Brian Trottier has taken it from Potvin, comes to center, sends scoring over the line. He shoots. Keens gets in front of that. Off board deep in the Boston zone. Gets tangled up in the boards here with Randy Burridge. And they'll freeze it long enough for a face-off. You were testing me a little while back with that question as to who the last Bruin before Ray Bourque to win a Calder Trophy. And the life of me, I really want to say Robert Gordon Orr, but I know it wasn't Bobby, and I can't come up with it.
Derek Sanderson.
Who?
Derek Sanderson. Derek Sanderson won it, or won it the year before.
Yeah. Derek was the last one.
Yeah. Orr won it in 66, 67, and Sanderson in 67, 68.
There's a deflection in front of Keens, and he's down to block the shot and hold on to it. I was thinking that Barry Peterson, I know he had a lot of votes, but it wasn't quite enough to win it. Who else has been a contender, really, for the Bruins in the last few years?
They were the last two Bruins since Ray Bork won it.
Who beat you out for it?
Let's see. Back then, about 129 other players.
Here's a chance for Bossy, trying to get it into Trottier. Comes to the side of the net. Trottier's shot just went wide. They put it off to the side of the goal. Picked up by Trottier. His backhander is blocked, and the Bruins start out. Burridge comes to center ice. Golfs it around the boards in the Islanders zone. Montang gets a bump. Zimmer gets the puck, and then is checked, and Brian Trottier is cleared it across to Bossy at center ice. Mike Bossy pulls it to left wing. Moves in over the line, puts on the brakes, fires one just off the tip of the glove of Doug King. Morrow with a spinning puck that came outside the line before he shot it back in. He and Charlie Zimmer collided. And they'll face off outside the Boston line. Still on the line here tonight is number 22's individual scoring streak. Mike Bossy had gone 14 games with a point in each one. 8 goals and 12 assists for 20 points in the last 14.
He's going to get it, Jake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Bruins will pull the goaltender, and he'll get either an assist or he'll get a goal.
You do fortunes as well?
When I have to. Not well, but when I have to.
That's LaFontaine centering for Dwayne Sutter and Clark Gillies. And here are the Bruins coming to center. Gillies broke up the rush. Up goes to Ken Morrow. Morrow backs it off the left wing boards, deep into the Boston zone. LaFontaine got dragged down by Curran as he went in after the puck. And
The net's off the moorings, too. They don't know it yet, but that's what's happened. He's going to put it back on if he can.
And just as the Bruins were moving into the Islanders zone, the whistle sounded. And we'll get a little delay here as the net is replaced. So with this break, 3 minutes and 46 seconds left in the third period, and the score is the Islanders 5, the Bruins 4.
Fontaine goes for a rest. Net jumped off its moorings. You have to know it was not the Bruins goaltender that pulled it off. With the Bruins in possession of the puck and threatening Bill Smith in the Islander goal, they don't want a stoppage of play. That's why Keynes was trying to put it back on before anybody noticed, so it wouldn't stop the offensive action of his Bruins teammates.
Now Peterson facing off against Trottier. The draw comes back. Bork is tied up as Flatley moved in on top of him. Trottier trying to take it away from Courtnall. Courtnall fed it to Bork. His low shot. They scored! Middleton crossing in front. May have forced it to change direction, but the Bruins have come back to tie it at 5-5.
What looked like an easy shot from the point. Ray Bork didn't get much on it. Let's take a look as the Bruins battle along the boards. Courtnall back. There's the shot. It wasn't hard, but watch Middleton in front of the net. He has to change the direction. Yes, he did, as Bill Smith had to play the puck as it came off the stick of Ray Bork. Middleton changed the direction about 8 feet in front of Bill Smith, and he's tied the game once again at 5 apiece. We've been watching the Islanders tie it up and then fall behind. The Islanders goal by Makala give them a 5-4 lead. Now Middleton has tied it for the Bruins.
Andy Boyd dumping it in from center ice, but on his own side of the center ice stripe gets a play stoppage for icing the puck. Now the 3 minutes and 26 seconds left. The Islanders with 4 goals here in the third period. First time they've scored 4 goals in the third period of any game this season.
A helpless feeling for the goaltender. Watching a puck come in. There's Courtnall as he banks it off the boards in front of Flatley. There's the shot. Now the shot is not hard. It's not coming fast, but Middleton, there he's coming out, dives and tips it by the right leg of Bill Smith into the net. A helpless feeling. Nothing he can do about it with the puck changing direction only 8 feet in front of him. Couldn't make the save.
The Islanders start out following the draw. Potvin has carried it to center, played it to Flatley, dumps it in. Keynes out of the net, wheels it around the boards. Potvin stays in deep, picks it up, fires one that's deflected wide. Goes in after it again. Checked there by Bork. Flatley moves in to help out. Nico Makala covering for Potvin at the point, but the Bruins wheel it up the right side, and here's Courtnall into the Islanders zone. Courtnall checked by Persson. Two of them go to the corner. Persson all over Courtnall. One right up in the boards is kicked loose. Nico Makala fed it to Flatley, back to Makala. Down the right side is blown up by Tolveen. Flatley with the line, got it to Nico Makala. Makala moves in deep, he shoots. Keynes out to make the pad save, and Casper is there to clear the rebound. All the Bruins back into their own zone, now start out of there. Courtnall checked in center by Makala. Antonelli plays it rink wide for Paul Boudelier. Slaps it in around the board. Bossy goes in after it. It got away from Keynes. Trottier is there now. Ryan Trottier put back in the net. Centers Bossy with a shot. He scores! You Bossy with the empty net. Michael Bossy getting the pass from Trottier, and the Islanders lead 6-5.
I was a minute wrong. It was an open net. It was an open side of the net. The Bruins were jumping up and down a moment ago and offside, but the play had come back out to center ice. But Trottier with a beautiful pass. Let's watch as he laid it out flat. Perfect play by Brian Trottier. Went to the backhand, quick flip, bang. Casper, number 11, tried to break it up, but Mike Bossy keeps it alive and regains a one-goal lead for the Islanders. His 25th goal of the season has given the Islanders a big goal here, a big lead, I should say, with a big goal. 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the hockey game.
So Bossy runs his individual streak now to 15 consecutive games with a point. And the Bruins into the Islander zone, stayed onside. The puck over to the far side. Charlie Zimmer is checked, and Wayne Sutter has cleared it into center. It bounces, spins down into the Boston zone. Curls just short of the goal line, however, thus no icing. Okay, and Boudelier with the assists on Bossy's goal. The Bruins have dumped it down into Bill Smith's area. Randy Boyd plays it up the wing to Clark Gillies. He tips it out over the line. Randy Burridge had it stolen by LaFontaine. The pass to Wayne Sutter. Got one from the line that went off fork stick and into the seats back of the Boston goal. One more meeting this year between the Islanders and the Bruins.
Will Mike Bossy get his 500th goal in an empty net?
That is something that is still ahead of us, isn't it? 31 seconds. And he is on the ice along with Ryan Trottier, Denny Potvin, John Tonelli, and Kenny Morrow. Al Arbor, some words for Bossy to positioning on the ice for this face-off.
Actually, well, you should watch Bossy here right from the drop of the puck, particularly if Brian Trottier wins it. He's out ahead right out into the center ice area, waiting for the defenseman, Ken Morrow in this case, to bank it off the boards. They maybe try to set it up for that particular reason, but I would have to think it would come after the draw.
Bossy moved up, got the puck. Mike Bossy dumps it down the right wing boards. Tonelli comes in after it. It stayed outside the line. Bossy gets tripped up. The Bruins with 22 seconds left. Can't get over the line. Here's Bossy with the empty net. There it is. 500 goals. And Mr. Westfall called it, but it didn't come quite that way. But Michael Bossy, 500 National Hockey League goals.
We've seen him do so many first. He has just done another one. Mike Bossy is the only player to ever get his 500th goal in an empty net.
Really?
That is a fact, yes. No one has ever scored it in an empty net.
He becomes the 11th player in the history of the National Hockey League. Well, there's the message to score 500 goals. Ahead of him now, John Beliveau at 507, and take a look again at number 500.
Before him, Maurice Richard, Gordie Howe, Bobby Hull, John Beliveau, Frank Mahovlich, Bill Esposito, John Busick, Stan Mikita, Marcel Dion, and Guy Lafleur are the other players with 500 goals or more, and only Marcel Dion, along with Bossy, are still active players.
It has been some night that comes to a close now at the final horn. Mike Bossy keeps not only his streak alive, but he becomes the 11th man to get 500 goals in a career in the history of the league. We're going to go back and look on it.
Right from the face-off, there goes Bossy. Ray Bork got a piece of the puck, kept it in, but then Bossy took it again, gets it up the right boards. Right here, look at the Islanders. They bail out of the blue line, and with Balvin in possession of the puck, he's checked from behind by John Tonelli, and Bossy picks up the loose puck, skates in, and pops it into the open net. Goal number 500. That's his 26th goal of the season, his second goal of the game, and the Islanders pull off a 7-5 win.
Wow. It all began with a presentation to Denny Potvin at 8 o'clock as he became the honoree, having broken Bobby Orr's record as the highest scoring defenseman in the history of the National Hockey League. The Islanders trail going to the third period. It was only 3-2, folks. And look at your final score. The Islanders 7 and the Boston Bruins 5. We'll be back with a recap right after these messages.
Is there remarkable hockey game. The Islanders won 7-5 over the Boston Bruins. It started out with a celebration for Denny Potvin, and it ended with a standing ovation for Michael Bossy, who scored 2 goals, including his 500th, only the 11th player in National Hockey League history to get 500 goals. Congratulations, and your feelings about the event.
Thank you very much. I feel good. I feel better because the team won. We were struggling tonight, but some great performances by some of the guys in the third period, by everyone, but especially by John and Brian, who scored some great goals to help make that comeback possible.
Michael, we're going to take a look at the goal. I'd like to get your version from the face-off.
Well, the puck was won here. I tried just to flip it by him. I knew Johnny T would be going, and I just couldn't get a hold out of it. I knew Johnny and Brent were streaking. Johnny and Trotz were streaking down the middle. I fell down, and Johnny got the puck off of him, and all of a sudden it was there, and I just skated in. I thought the guy threw a stick. I thought I saw a stick come flying in front of me there.
Michael, there was some discussion between Jiggs and Ed about, at the face-off circle before the face-off, that there might be some sort of plan to get you the puck. What kind of discussion was there, if any?
Well, there would have been a lot of guys fighting for it. Johnny had 2 goals, Brian had 2 goals, and I was going for my 500th. So if there would have been a loose puck, there would have been 3 hungry guys going after it. There wasn't a discussion. We were just making sure that we knew who we were going to take in our own end.
I think perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the accomplishment is that it not only was a landmark, but it was decisive. You put the club ahead with a dramatic goal, and then you clinched it when it was a bit of a cliffhanger. And the Bossy drama just never ends. The one goal that always comes to mind, fans who talk about Michael Bossy goals, is the one against Vancouver. Is that the one that you like the best?
Well, I think as far as spectacular goes, it's probably one of the most spectacular I've scored, and one that I like to remember. But you know, there's always a lot of guys who have been involved in a lot of my goals, and you know, it's always nice to remember the one, my 50 and 50, where Trotz, JT got me the puck there, and you know, Brian has passed me a number of pucks where I've got a lot of goals on. So, you know, everyone on the team has helped in